Hello. Hi. Higurashi, let's go. Where's my chat? There's my chat. Anyway, sorry, I was just checking that as soon as I posted it, there were like messages on both the places I posted. I'm like, what? People already responding. Anyway, last time we didn't really get much done. Rena, yeah, Watanagashi happened, and as usual, Takano and Tomitake died. But as it turns out, Takano had given Rena some of her journals in which she wrote about her research into the curse of Oyashiro-sama and the mysterious annual deaths and disappearances. Serena, don't do that. It makes mustard gas. Anyway, and slowly her mental state is beginning to deteriorate, but I'm sure everything will be fine. So let's go ahead. Hi, Daisy. Let's go ahead and load my state. I said load my state. Save or whatever. Continue. And open a can of soda. My last can. Tsumanakatta, Rena. I should apologize, Rena. I don't think I believed you. I'm really sorry about that. It's okay, Kate-kun. I'm just glad we didn't get caught. Soda? Yeah, I know, I'm so bad. If I'm ever gonna lose weight, I really need to, one, basically cut out soda, and two, not eat junk food all the time. Like, not to derail this too quickly, but I was looking at old pictures of myself, and I've thought of myself as, like, you know, fat, basically, for years, at least overweight, probably since I was a teenager, but, you know, it really hit me recently. There's different, and for the past few months, really, but there's different degrees to fat, and, like, you know, I used to be kind of a little overweight, but, like, I'm, like, properly fat now, and I think I would be a lot happier if I was even just a bit overweight. I'm not saying I have to be slim, but, you know, there's pictures from only, like, 3-4 years ago where I'm, like, I was looking at them, and I'm, like, I don't look that bad. So, yeah, I should probably do something about it, and I mentioned this before, but, I'm gonna be, actually, have I mentioned this on YouTube? Well, potentially, debut information here, but, I'm gonna be moving to live with my sister in a little over 2 months, end of April. So when I do that, like, I'm gonna have more cooked food, because she's gonna cook sometimes. I'm gonna try to cook a bit more. You know, having 2 people doing stuff around the house will make it a little easier. Part of the reason I haven't cooked recently is, like, the kitchen is a mess. I never want to clean it up. And then, you know, so I'm just like, well, I can put something in the air fryer and that'll pop, you know, be done in 20 minutes, and then I don't really have to do much of anything. Whereas actually cooking something, I gotta, like, clear all the space for it, and, you know, I don't mind cooking sometimes, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I could still try to make a bit more of an effort in the next 2 months, though. But anyway, enough about that. Random tangent. It's okay, Kitchen. I'm just glad we didn't get caught. Who are they? Are they pawns of those religious fanatics who are trying to revive the cult of Oyashiro-sama?
I think they don't realize that they're pawns, but I'm sure the masterminds are using them as such. They must be the ones who have been pulling strings behind the scenes ever since the dam conflict.
I heard that people working for the Sonozaki family did something similar during the dam conflict itself.
Yes, everyone knows that. Oishi-san told me that there was a kidnapping incident during the dam conflict. The case hasn't been disclosed to the public, but anyway, someone kidnapped the grandson of the Minister of Construction and coerced the minister into promising to put a halt to the dam construction.
The grandson of the minister was kidnapped? Hey, I've never heard about that before.
The minister submitted to their demands, and they made a deal behind the scenes. That's why the incident never went public. Oishi-san only knows about it because he was in charge of the case.
Okay. And
According to Oishi-san, between kidnapping the minister's grandson and blackmailing him, their tactics were frighteningly advanced. The police know that the Sonozaki family gave orders to the kidnappers, but the case still remains unsolved. At that time, the heads of the Sonozaki family, Oryo, had announced a plan to fight against the dam project by force. She even formed a special attack corps using the Yakuza group that's under the Sonozaki family's command. She was very serious about this plan to put the Ministry of Construction down by brute force if she couldn't stop the construction.
Everybody knows that the Sonozaki family had tried to stop the dam project even if it meant breaking the law. So I wasn't surprised to hear that she had a dangerous plan like that. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Mion who came up with the idea. The plan sounded just like her.
In the end, the plan ended up as nothing more than that. But the Special Attack Corps actually did undergo training, and very high-level training at that.
Oishi had uncovered the information right after the dam conflict ended. At the time, Oryo even said that if the village was going to be submerged, all members of the Onigafuji Guardians would choose to stay in their houses and drown. So because Oryo was behind those things, I couldn't just laugh off the idea of an armed assault on the Ministry of Construction. According to the information Oishi seized, she planned a suicide mission as a last resort when the dam conflict started to heat up, in case the resistance wasn't successful. She had actually obtained weapons and put people through training for the sake of that plan. The Special Attack Corps were flown to America, having received a huge amount of money from Oryo for the operation. In the southern desert of the United States, some retired military soldiers gave them highly professional training. While the plan was never carried out, the Special Attack Corps became a death squad under the direct control of Oryo after they came back from America. They were involved in many unsolved terrorist incidents, and they succeeded in kidnapping the grandson of the minister as well. It sounds like it's from a movie or something.
Do you remember how Mi-chan said that she could do anything, from flying helicopters to using wireless radios? That's actually all true. It seems like Mi-chan joined in their training.
So that was all true?
Well, let's put that aside for now. Anyway, you have to at least believe that the death squad actually exists in Hinamizawa, and they're capable of kidnapping the grandson of a government minister.
I didn't take a close look at the four men in the white van today, but thinking about it, they did look professional in a way. They were pretending to just be taking a break, but I could tell they were tense the whole time.
So, are they really trying to kill you?
Oh, wrong. So are they really trying to kill you?
I don't think so. If they really wanted to kill me, I'd be dead already.
So, what do they want? Are they after Takano-san's scrapbooks?
Like you saw yourself, the group is very cautious. Unless we show them an opening, they won't resort to force. If they were the type to use force outright, they could have attacked me in my sleep.
They haven't done that yet, so that must mean they're taking it cautiously.
They're probably not sure that I have the scrapbooks. They killed Mio-san and tried to dispose of them, but they found out that the most important ones were missing. They thought she gave them to someone because she knew her life was in danger. Now they think I'm the one who has them. But they're not sure, so they can't resort to violence.
Then, it sounds like you're playing a dangerous game.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared, but they won't be able to erase me so easily. After all, I'm cooperating with Oishi-san. I've been frequently contacting him in case something happens.
What did he say about them?
He said that he'd keep an eye on the Sonozaki family so that he could catch them right away if they were working behind the scenes.
Did you tell him about the scrapbooks?
No, I didn't.
I think you should. He's an officer. I'm sure the police will help you. Yeah, now him flying helicopters being a trained assassin at age 14. I think she's 15 now, but yeah. I mean, this all happened 5 years ago as well, so she was like 10.
Keiichi-kun,
I can't even tell you the secret of this village because I'm not sure you would believe me.
I don't think Oishi-san would believe me if I told him any of this.
Rena, let's not make it more confusing than it already is. Just tell me, what is it? What's written in the scrapbooks? What's the secret that killed Mio-san?
Simply put, if the things written in the scrapbooks are true, the god they worship will be dethroned.
The god? Dethroned?
Yes. The sanctity of Oyashiro-sama will be lost. That's why they want to conceal the truth. They want to resurrect people's belief in Oyashiro-sama.
Rena, can you explain it a little more simply than that? I'm confused.
In other words, Oyashiro-sama isn't a god.
He isn't? I had no idea what she read that made her so certain, but whatever it was, it'd be sacrilegious for people who believed so strongly in Oyashiro-sama.
There are many teachings of Oyashiro-sama, but the essence is as follows. Don't leave the village and don't let anybody into the village. One could even say the rest of his teachings were developed to maintain those two fundamentals. It really wasn't until later on that they added aspects like love your neighbor, or viewing him as a god of marriage and domestic prosperity.
Makes you realize how boring life is when no pause mafia.
In other words, Oyashiro-sama existed solely to stop the villagers from going outside the village. Oyashiro-sama doesn't bless the villagers or protect them from disasters. The people believe that Oyashiro-sama does all that for them, but the truth is that the people abused his name for that purpose, generation after generation, and nothing more than that. Why did Oyashiro-sama descend in the first place? Because demons came out of Onigafuchi swamp and attacked people.
In fact, that was the wrong interpretation. Demons didn't come out of the swamp and attack people. People became demons and attacked others when they were possessed by whatever came out of the swamp.
Whatever came out of the swamp? What do you mean by that? Whatever came out of the swamp possessed people, crawled into their blood, controlled them, and turned them into demons. People had no resistance against whatever it was that came out of the swamp. They became demons, attacked the other villagers, and turned them into demons as well. That's right. It was a weird infectious disease that broke out from the swamp. It made the infected people go out of control. The villagers saw this disaster and explained it like so. Evil demons came out from the bottom of the swamp, possessed people, and turned them into demons as well. That is the truth of the story of the demons that came out of Onigafuchi swamp. It actually explains the legend. So, was Oyashiro-sama a doctor who came from a foreign country?
Yes. That's not exactly correct, but he was something like that. He came to Onigafuchi, and he treated the infectious disease. But he couldn't cure it for good.
All his treatment could do was reduce the symptoms of the infection. Villagers could have their symptoms suppressed, but there was no way to kill the parasites that had infested them. After a while, the village was divided into two groups. One group was made up of the people who were already infected, and the other consisted of the people who weren't. Without a cure for the disease, the uninfected looked down on the people who could only suppress their violent symptoms. They even talked about drowning them in the swamp. But they knew killing the infected people wouldn't solve the problem. The parasites came out of their water sources, including Onigafuchi swamp.
So in other words, people knew about the whole swamp gas thing and nobody realized / cared. Are you talking about the Great Hinamizawa disaster? Because that's different, because that was like gas that killed people.
They couldn't fill them all in, for if they did that, they would lose their access to drinking water. They could have chosen to leave the village, but that was hard for them, for that was the location of their ancestors' graves. Under the power of Oyashiro-sama, infected people could live without showing symptoms. So both those who were infected and those who weren't decided to live together equally and to coexist with the parasite. Oyashiro-sama was impressed by the villagers' decision. He decided to stay there and continue to treat them. That's the true identity of Oyashiro-sama, the benefactor who stayed in the village to protect the lives of both human and demon.
That's right. And Oyashiro-sama made rules in order to ensure the symptoms of the infected people would remain suppressed. The rules were to never leave the village and to never let anybody into the village.
I understand why he didn't want to let anybody new into the village. It was to prevent the parasite from infecting anyone else. But I don't understand why he didn't want people to leave.
It seems like the parasite can only live in Hinamizawa because of the climate here. It causes an outbreak of the symptoms in order to prevent the hosts from leaving the village when they try. That reaction is the truth behind the curse of Oyashiro-sama.
The strongest symptoms of the infectious disease were violence and delirium. The infected people acted just like demons, and the impact of seeing them in the throes of the disease was strong enough to make others describe them as such. They couldn't even let people leave who had just come to the village. If they had left after being infected, they might go crazy in a faraway land, turn into a vicious demon, and cause a disaster. Infected people were never allowed to leave. When an infected person left the village, they brought him back by any means necessary. That was what it really meant to be demoned away. Wait a second, Rena. That means everybody in this village, including you and I, are infected. But nothing happens when we leave Hinamizawa. In fact, many villagers move far away after getting married or something. I've never heard of any villagers who went crazy and turned into demons after they left Hinamizawa.
You're right. That's because things went as Oyashiro-sama thought they would. Do you understand? He isolated the village for a long time in order to weaken the power of the parasite.
Hosts are very important for parasites. If something happens to the host, the parasites that live in the host have to share the same fate. In other words, if the host went crazy and attacked people, the host would be captured and killed, which means that the parasites would die with the host too. I see. You're talking about natural selection.
Good thinking, Keitsu-kun. That's exactly right. As a result of living in this village under such strict rules for a long time, people who were hypersensitive to the parasite went crazy and got killed. The strong parasites that made the infected people go crazy were also killed off due to the host's violent behaviors. As a result, only the parasites that acted nice to people lived on. And that's the explanation behind the mix of human and demon blood that's written in the legend of Oyashiro-sama.
So, that means the parasite is almost harmless now.
Yes. According to Mio-san's scrapbooks, there are actually many people who are infected by harmless parasites. It depends on the local food culture. For example, about 80% of the people who live in a country where meat is a staple food are infected by parasites. But because the parasites coexist with humans without doing any harm to them, nobody notices them, treats them, or tries to get rid of them.
I see.
In olden times, Watanagashi was called Watanagashi, Harawata meaning guts. It's said the people back then used to eat the guts of infected people who went crazy. It sounds awful, but it was something they had to do.
Eating the infected people? Are you talking about a vaccine?
You're very smart, Keitsu-kun. Mio-san also interpreted it just like you did. In the legend, it says people cut open and ate the infected ones alive, but it actually wasn't anything gross like that. They did it in a scientific way. They created a vaccine for the infected people who died from the extremely strong parasites, and that helped the uninfected villagers boost their immune system.
Who was Oyashiro-sama? A scientist? He must have been from a very advanced country. Was he German? Is the true identity of Oyashiro-sama a foreign doctor who survived a shipwreck? Hey, that's not about Higurashi. No, I didn't hear about the new event in Master Duel. What is it? You really couldn't just wait until I was done streaming to mention.
I think that'd be the most likely answer. He wasn't German, but he was a doctor of some sort.
It's kind of interesting to reveal the truth behind old legends. I don't think that Rena's story is too crazy to be true anymore. It still sounds crazy, of course, but I've never heard any theories that explain the legend of this village better than this one. I'm infected by the parasite too, right? I feel itchy all over now.
A person is like a universe. We have countless numbers of bacteria in our bodies. Some of those bacteria are essential to us staying alive.
You're bored? Like bacteria in yogurt, right? I see. Okay, tell me later.
This is also what Mio-san wrote in his scrapbooks. You know termites, right? They eat wood, but they actually can't digest it themselves. They have unique bacteria that decomposes the wood fibers. As a result, termites can absorb what they eat. That's just one example of a species coexisting with parasites.
That's not a parasite in that case. That's, I'm trying to remember what that's called. That's not commensalism, is it? That's a symbiosis, right? If both species benefit, that's symbiosis. If one species harms the other to propagate its existence, that's a parasite. And if one species sort of mooches off the other, but it doesn't really affect them, then that's commensalism. Anyway. So using it in terms a little incorrectly here, but that's fine. I didn't know that. When I hear the word parasites, I feel creeped out almost instinctively, but now I know some of them aren't so bad for us.
So the weird infectious disease that broke out from Onigafuchi Swamp has been exterminated by now.
The S in swamp should be capital.
Well, I shouldn't say exterminated. I should say it's harmless now.
I thought it was a crazy story at first. But now I feel like I just saw the trick behind some crazy kind of magic. It's interesting.
It is to us. But for the cult of Oyashiro-sama, this must be a very annoying theory.
Of course. If Takano-san's theory is correct, Oyashiro-sama isn't a god. And the punishment by that god, namely the curse of Oyashiro-sama that people have been so afraid of, will turn out to have just been the symptoms of an infectious disease. I see. That's what dethroning God would mean. So if the pathogen of this infectious disease was identified and announced to the public, the power of Oyashiro-sama would be completely lost. That's right. That's what they're afraid of. Mio-sama is going to identify the pathogen. And for that, she was killed.
So that must mean she identified it!
Maybe she did. But she's gone. And she didn't say anything about that in her scrapbooks. That's the only reason I can think of, though.
But it's the end of the 20th century. I'm sure the villagers have been examined by a lot of different medical institutions by now, right? I've never heard about anyone discovering a weird parasite like that.
I know. It's true that the pathogen hasn't been found yet. But in fact, there is evidence that there's some kind of parasite involved.
What? Really?
When a parasite enters a human body, that body's immune system cells, eosinophils and macrophages, try to kill the parasite. They secrete an antibody called immunoglobulin E, IgE. The most common way of checking if a person is infected by a pathogen is to look at the levels of this secretion. According to Takano's research, people from Hinamizawa have a very high level of IgE in their blood. That's not all. They also have obvious symptoms of being infected by parasites. They don't have any allergies. IgE stimulates mast cells, and they secrete histamines and serotonin as a result. These cause an allergic reaction. That allergic reaction isn't pleasant for humans, but it's necessary for the body to kill the pathogen. But the parasites don't want to be killed, of course, so they secrete substances that counteract IgE. As a result, IgE stops stimulating the receptors of the mast cells, which stop secreting the chemical compounds. As a result, the antigen-antibody reaction, namely the allergic reaction, doesn't occur. In other words, a human body that was infected by a parasite secretes a high level of IgE, but doesn't display allergic reactions. For your information, a human body that's infected by a parasite doesn't suffer from hay fever. You get hay fever due to your body secreting a large amount of IgE because it's mistaken pollen for a parasitic invasion. As a result, a large amount of stimulants like histamine will be secreted, but your body can't contain the parasite that it's attempting to kill. That's why your body continues to secrete IgE. As a result, the stimulants keep causing allergic reactions. That's how hay fever works. If you have a parasite in your body, it'll deactivate your IgE and suppress the secretion of stimulants. As a result, you don't have an allergic reaction. In other words, there's no hay fever in Hinamizawa, and you can cure your hay fever by moving here.
So we haven't been able to identify the pathogen, but there's no question about its existence.
Yes, that's right.
If that's true, the scrapbooks are a big threat to the believers in Oyashiro-sama. They don't identify the pathogen, but they clearly prove its existence.
Yeah. It poses a big enough danger to them to make them think it's worth killing Mio-san.
This really is a scary secret. I believe it because you took the time to explain it to me. But if you had skipped the details and told me only the conclusion, it really would have sounded too crazy to believe.
I told you!
I couldn't believe it at first either, so I thought you definitely wouldn't.
So what's important right now is that there's a dangerous organization acting in the shadows to try and cover up the truth, right?
Yes, that's the most important thing. The fanatics who want to revive the sanctity of the god they worship. Reviving the majesty of their god means reviving the power of that god, and the power of their god is the infectious disease. This infectious disease can't spread nationwide, unlike other infectious diseases, so from now on I'm going to start calling it an endemic disease. That fits better since it only affects this region. Anyway, the endemic disease of current-day Hinamizawa is different from the one of old times. It's been through a process of natural selection, and it's harmless now. In other words, it doesn't do any harm to human bodies. That harm was once interpreted as a curse. A curse is the power of a god, so a harmless endemic disease means that the god is powerless. That means the only way to regain the majesty of that god is to revive the curse. In other words, they want to bring back the primitive endemic disease, namely the harmful, strong version of the parasite.
Wait a second! These fanatics want to deny the fact that their god was actually a parasite, but you're saying that they're researching the parasite. That's contradictory, isn't it?
I know it is. I think that this research is a secret that only the head of the fanatics is aware of. From the outside, they look like they're praising their god, but they actually understand its true identity, and they're trying to revive its supernatural power with their own hands.
I get it now. Oh my god, this is getting crazier and crazier.
It didn't say in the scrapbooks, but I'm suspicious of the clinic the manager owns.
The idiot clinic? Why?
The facility is too big and fancy for Hinamizawa. Mio-san was working there. The manager might be a bacteriologist the Sonozaki family recruited.
Yeah, I need a drink. I've got the weird, like, scratchiness in the back of my throat. Very unpleasant.
It can't be!
I think Mio-san was murdered because she knew too much. The reason why the manager hasn't been murdered yet is because he's working for the fanatics in the first place.
And he's researching the primitive form of the endemic disease. It's hard to believe that the coach we know is capable of doing things like that.
I'm sorry. He might be totally irrelevant. It's just a wild guess. But someone is doing the research somewhere, that much is certain. After 5 years, the research has finally been completed. The first case was the dismemberment murder by the dam construction workers. Their quarrel had turned into a lynching. They might have had the primitive infectious disease, and the symptoms, the aggression and delirium, might have kicked in. The victims of the second year were Sadako's parents. There are no witnesses, so the whole event is veiled in mystery, but there's a theory that someone might have pushed them over the cliff, since the fence of the observation deck that they fell from was quite sturdy. What if one of them was infected by the primitive parasite? He or she might have become violent and pushed the other over the cliff. The Shinto priest died from a disease, and his wife drowned herself in the third year. He might have died of shock because of a hypersensitive reaction to the infection. His wife might have gone crazy and committed suicide when one of the symptoms, delirium, kicked in. In the fourth year, Satoshi Hojo's aunt was beaten to death, presumably by Satoshi himself. Everybody who knew Satoshi-kun remembers how he changed at that time. He showed signs of being both aggressive and delirious. And the fifth year, for the first time in 5 years, the victim experienced the maggot disease described in the old scroll of the Hudade Shrine. The reason behind that is unclear, but the stronger primitive parasite could have given its victims a delusion of maggots. This means that they finally managed to duplicate the curse of Oyashiro-sama after 5 years of research. Tomitake-san is the victim of the fifth year. He died in an extremely abnormal way, and I'm the only one who understands his death because I experienced the same thing. He kept clawing at his throat to get rid of the maggots, and died as a result. With all that explained, I finally understand the maggot disease I experienced in Ibaraki. I left Hinamizawa, and it made the parasite in me uncomfortable. As a result, it tried to resist, even though it wasn't very strong, and it tried to make me homesick. But with my parents' divorce, I grew mentally unbalanced, and I completely lost the power to resist for a period of time. The parasite was weak and harmless, but my mental instability allowed it to worsen my symptoms dramatically. As a result, I went crazy and became violent. The delusion of Oyashiro-sama appearing to me in the bathroom was probably the terminal phase of my delirium. I created the supernatural existence Oyashiro-sama that I was instilled with when I was little. Then I persuaded myself to go back to Hinamizawa based on that delusion. Some of the transcendents of Onigafuchi must have had the same kind of experience. They must have passed their experiences down as the acts of a god.
I remember I once saw on TV that the indigenous people in South America used some kind of natural drug in order to have a mystical experience, and that they called it a ritual to communicate with their gods.
So what the fanatics are trying to do is to spread the primitive parasites throughout Hinamizawa.
I think that's their goal. But I don't think they'll do that without letting people know about it. Religions need ceremonies. So if they created what they wanted to create, and if they decided to spread it, I think they'd name it the Day of Oyashiro-sama's Revival or something, and they perform some kind of ceremony. It would be in celebration of the revival of Oyashiro-sama. That's
a bad thing, isn't it?
I think you can say that because they're trying to spread a very dangerous pathogen.
Hey, isn't that bioterrorism? Jeez, this is very bad. They used it on Tomitake-san, confirming that they succeeded in duplicating the curse of Oyashiro-sama, so that day of revival might be really soon.
I don't know. It could happen in a few days, or it might take a year.
This is way out of your league, Rena. This is a very serious conspiracy. There's nothing we alone can do to stop them. We have to report it to the police.
Do you think they'll believe us?
It's their choice whether to believe us or not. No matter what, we have to tell them.
Keiichi-kun, telling Oishi-san about all this means telling him that I have the scrapbooks.
Do you think that'd be a problem?
Oishi-san came to me after Mio-san was murdered. When they killed Mio-san, they found out that her scrapbooks were missing. They also know that she met me at the library a few days ago.
No way! You mean...
Yes, Oishi-san could be one of them. It's possible that Oishi-san thinks I have the scrapbooks, and he might be trying to find out. In fact, he looked very suspicious, and it seemed to me that he didn't really tell me everything he knew. He only told me things to make me suspicious of the Sonozaki family. He could have just been trying to look like he was on my side, and that he's actually their minion.
But the police are our only hope.
Keiichi-kun, you know about the case of the 4th year, don't you? Satoko-chan's aunt was murdered. I believe Satoshi-kun did it, but the police fingered a drug addict as the murderer. Haha, fingered ho. What do you think about that?
Some of the fanatics are with the police, and they fabricated the murderer?
It's the same with the autopsy of the Shinto priest, who they claim died from disease, and the inspection of the accident site where the Hojo couple died. If the police are on their side, it opens the door to many perfect crimes. The 3 families have been maintaining pressure on the police since the dam conflict. You've heard from Michan that they also have considerable power over many organizations in Okinomiya, right?
The police? Mafia's trying to do bioterrorism. I have done some all these books here.
Yes, I have. It's not only Mion who told me that. Many people did. They told me the Sonozaki family holds influence over the whole city.
That's right. You can't necessarily trust the police around here.
Rena, please! I want to make one thing clear before we go on. Are the Sonozaki family the masterminds behind all this? Does that mean Mion is involved too? Please tell me.
I don't know if Michan or Rika-chan are directly involved or not. All I can say for sure is that the fanatics have the power to control the nerve centers of all the three families, including the most powerful family of all, the Sonozakis. I'm not sure if the fanatics are controlling the 3 families or if the 3 families are the fanatics themselves.
Pardon me?
As long as we're not sure about their involvement, it's better for us to be extra careful around them. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I'm not saying that I don't trust Michan. She's usually very reliable, and I'd ask her for help with any problem, but not this one. This one is a little different. I don't know if you've seen it before, but although Michan jokes around when she's with us, she can be a very cold person when she's acting as the successor of the Sonozaki family. Plus, even if she wasn't involved, we would put her in danger if we told her about this.
If she was on our side, that'd be really encouraging. I think we should tell her.
No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't tell her until we confirm she's not one of them. Sure, it'd be great if we could pull her to our side, but what if we couldn't?
So, how are we going to fight against them?
Well, this is a battle we don't stand a chance of winning to begin with. That's why I didn't want to get you involved.
Damn it! Takano-san left us a big parting gift, didn't she?
But because of that, we know about the conspiracy. I believe this is her will.
2 kids challenging the mastermind who controls the village. This is going to be tough. Ordinary methods won't work.
But, Kichi-kun, I'm glad to have you on my side. We can talk about it and plan things together.
Of course! I've always been on your side, and I'm your friend.
I know. Thank you. You're very reassuring.
2 heads are better than 1.
Yeah, I agree. We can come up with a plan for how we're going to fight against them together. I skipped school today because I wanted some time to read the scrapbooks again, but I'm going to school again tomorrow, and I'm going to act normal.
Next day in class, Keiichi's like, man, I can't believe what Rena told me about Mion's family trying to unleash the parasite. He says out loud. Yeah, that'd be good.
They might sense something is wrong with me if I act different. You should do the same, Keiichi-kun. Please be careful with Mi-chan. She's sometimes very perceptive.
Okay, I'll act normal as if I know nothing. But damn, I'm a bit scared. A huge conspiracy is right around the corner, and it might already be counting down to 0. It's hard to act normal knowing that.
I don't think it's going to happen very soon. Like I said earlier, if they really are religious fanatics, they need a religious ceremony. They need the help of the whole village to hold something like that. I can't think of any event other than Watanagashi.
So you're saying that we have time at least until the next Watanagashi festival?
I can't promise, but I just can't think of any event other than that. I think we have a year at least, but I also feel like we don't because of how they killed Mio-san. I might not know, but there might be a bigger religious event than Watanagashi. It might not be long until that day. On the day of Oyashiro-sama's revival, they're going to spread a dangerous parasite, and that day might be just around the corner.
Rena, are you still on the phone? Wrap it up soon, it's getting late.
My father stuck his head out from the living room, telling me I need to hang up soon. I thought about telling him so many times. It's natural to think that your parents will be on your side no matter what. But I know just how weak he can get, so I couldn't tell him. I don't think he'd believe me anyway. Even if I told him, he'd just tell me to call the police. It's better that I don't tell him. They might get close to my father to get to me. If he didn't know anything about anything, including the scrapbooks, there'd be nothing to squeeze out of him to begin with.
I'm sorry, Keiichi-kun. I have to go now. It's getting late. I'll see you at school.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Be careful, okay? You're not an outsider anymore.
Yeah, I'll be careful. I remember the suspicious men in the white van and felt a chill run through my spine. They looked like villagers, but they weren't. They had the village accent, but they were just pretending. The more I thought about it, the more suspicious they became. It let me know that Rena and I aren't safe. If Rena is right, they're just suspicious of her, and they're not sure if she has the scrapbooks or not. But it's still creepy. Rena had probably experienced the same creepiness I felt when I saw the van several times up until now. She must sense the danger more than I do. However, the fact that they weren't attacking, that they were merely observing us, was disturbing. If they attacked her, she could have done something, like going to the police. But all they're doing is just watching her from a distance. She can't do anything about it. She can't talk to anybody about it. She probably just wants to stay in her house all day. But if she acted different, they might take it as proof that she has the scrapbooks. We have to think about how to fight against them, without making it obvious. I told myself that there was no going back, and I put the phone down. The next day, Rena came to school acting normal like she said she would. She talked with Mion as cheerfully as she always did, and it made me wonder if the story she told me last night was a complete fabrication. That's because the story really was too ridiculously crazy to believe. This village has a very weird and rare endemic disease, and there are religious fanatics who want to use the disease to revive their weird cult. and they've been researching the pathogen of the endemic disease so they can spread it throughout the village. I was deeply influenced by Rena last night, and I believed everything she said. But thinking about it with a cool mind under the bright sunlight, it sounds too crazy to be true. The story Rena told me is based on Takano-san's crazy hand-me-down ideas. It's based entirely on her theories, which, though very feasible, have no evidence whatsoever. The fact that Takano-san was murdered lends credit to the story, I'll give you that, but... I looked at Mion. She was fooling around with Rena. It's hard to believe that she's involved with some crazy conspiracy. Hey, are you listening, Kei-chan? What? Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. Wake up, sleepyhead. You need to get enough sleep or your brain stops working. Watch the next X-Files when the light's on. We're done amazing. Mion made fun of me for reacting too slowly. It's almost impossible not to trust this bubbly, cheerful girl. I trust Mion. I trust my friends. I know she'd never have a hand in a crazy conspiracy like that. If she knew about it, she wouldn't be able to act this cheerfully. Rena told me not to tell Mion because she might be one of them, but it might be worth telling her without letting Rena know. Of course, there's at least a 1% chance that the conspiracy is true, and that Mion is one of them. If so, I'd be doomed. But if I had to choose between believing the crazy conspiracy theory and trusting my friends, my answer would be obvious. I know that my friend Mion isn't part of any conspiracy. She'd never be involved with something like that. Even if the conspiracy exists, I'm sure Mion will be on our side. So whether or not it's true, it must be worth telling Mion about it. What's going on, Kei-chan? Why'd you call me out here? You told me not to tell anybody. You're not gonna extort money from me, are you? Is that the first thing you think of when you're called out to the gymnasium storeroom? Oh, I know. You want to give me a love letter, don't you? People usually use the she-locker for that, you know? We don't really do that in the city. A lot of guys hand over their love letters in person. Really? So, wait, you're... Are you kidding me? That's not why I called you here. I have to talk to you about something very important. I want you to listen without making fun of me. What is it? Do you know that there are people who want to revive the cult of Oyashiro-sama? Huh? What? What are you talking about? This, of course, was just my way of getting a feel for the situation. I wanted to see how she was going to react by getting straight to the point. But Mion really did look puzzled. People wouldn't normally react like this if someone pointed out their secrets out of the blue. They always panic, if only just a little. Either Mion was a brilliant actress, or she really didn't have anything to do with the idea of reviving Oyashiro-sama. I decided to tell her everything. Mion, your family, the Sonozaki family, has a lot of influence in this region, including Hinamizawa, right? Do you think there's a possibility that they're working to revive the cult of Oyashiro-sama behind the scenes? Revive? Why? Well, you know, people today don't worship Oyashiro-sama like the people in the old days did. What are you doing talking to Mion about this? Well, he thinks he can trust her. Keiichi has absolute confidence that Mion would be on his side, even if there was a conspiracy going on. He has that much faith in Mion as his friend that he completely trusts her. That's why he's talking to her. So people like fundamentalists might be trying to make people worship Oyashiro-sama in the same way as the people of Onigafuchi. What? Wait a second. I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you sure? You really have no idea what I'm talking about? Of course I don't. It sounds like one of those popular novels that sold 5 million copies over in America. Mion's reaction was very natural. It seemed impossible that she was pretending she didn't know anything about it. But regardless, I continued. Well, there are people like that in this village for real. Do you know anything about them? You're saying that those people want to make us worship Oyashiro-sama like the people of Onigafuchi did? What good will that do? You know, I think it means a lot to people who really believe. But think about it, Kei-chan. Who'd be happy to live under those strict ancient rules? In this day and age, it's almost impossible to live without leaving the village. But, for example, think about Rika-chan. All the old people say she's a reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, right? Those people might be religious fanatics, and... Are you talking about old man Kimiyoshi? Well, I know he's a deeply religious man for sure, but he isn't a fanatic. Believe me, there really are people who are trying to revive the cult of Oyashiro-sama. Okay. I'll believe you for now, because I want to hear the rest. Go on. They found out that the curse of Oyashiro-sama was just an endemic disease unique to this village, so now they're researching the pathogen. Where? First of all, what's an endemic disease? What's a pathogen? They sound gross. I was getting confused. I didn't know what I was talking about myself anymore. I was deeply influenced by Rena last night and believed everything she said, but having said it all out loud, I started realizing how impossible the story sounded. What's going on with you? Did Mio-san tell you all this? How did you know? She's infamous for this kind of thing. She's infamous for this kind of thing. She's an occult maniac. She always makes up crazy stories. A few people have gotten badly taken in by her before. She told me some of her stories once, and I remember they're actually very interesting. Is that true? I think you've heard about this once or twice before, but this village had a unique culture back in the old days. They did a lot of oppressive things, like having very strict rules and very strict punishments, and a bunch of other cruel traditions. They're well known among occult maniacs. Mio-san's one of them. So the story I heard about the weird parasite that controls the village was... What? Parasite? Is that a new story she came up with? What do you mean, new story? I told you, Mio-san's an occult maniac. She studies the weird legends surrounding Onigafuchi and enjoys making up hypotheses, theories, and wild stories about them. She's created a lot of different ones aside from that theory that parasites are controlling the village. One I heard an awful while back was about UFOs. That one was interesting since it connected a lot of different dots. The story was about a UFO that crashed into Onigafuchi Swamp long ago. The alien that was in the UFO and the villagers had a battle, or something like that. It was like one of those sci-fi horror B-movies. The one Satoko heard was a theory about creatures from the bottom of the ocean. A movement in the Earth's crust opened up a connection between that underwater world and Onigafuchi, and... the princess of the underworld fell in love with a young man in the village. It was like a sci-fi version of Romeo and Juliet. The story about the parasites that you heard must be a new one. I hope she makes all of them into a book one day. Mion began laughing so hard that she had to hold her stomach. As I looked at her laughing like that, I realized I fell for something that ridiculous. You know, I'm a little disappointed that I didn't start earlier last time, so I could have gone halfway through this chapter for my breaking point, but it wouldn't have happened. Would have been a fun place to have the cliffhanger. At that point, it was obvious. I'd been completely taken in. I'm sorry, Mion, but please answer my questions. First, do the fanatics who are trying to revive the cult of Oyashiro-sama exist? No, they don't. I mean, it's totally the opposite. The three families have agreed to open Hinamizawa to outsiders in order to make this village thrive. I'm not supposed to tell anybody about this, but there's a project to build a new highway by the end of the 20th century. The Sonozaki family is promoting its construction without informing the villagers. If all goes well, this whole area will flourish. My grandma's betting she'll make a fortune when it causes land prices in the region to skyrocket. Well, most of the work will happen in the 21st century, so I'll likely end up taking over the project. So, you don't think there are people who hate outsiders? I told you, there are no such people. What makes you think we want to make this village more inconvenient than it already is? In fact, we've already started selling the land of the village to rich people who want to build country residences here. Your house is on the first lot we sold, Kei-chan. Didn't the villagers welcome you? The three families are trying to do everything they can to stop young people from leaving the village. There was nothing vague about what Mion had said. Her story makes a lot more sense than Takano-san's delusional theories. And so Mion's words woke me up from that delusion. So, what about this? I heard that the residents of Hinamizawa have extraordinary high levels of something in their blood, and it proves that they're infected by parasites. Really? How did Mion-san figure that out? Takano-san's a nurse. I'm sure she can do that. And you think anyone would give her blood samples for no reason? Because I sure don't. Even if she could get blood samples somehow, how and where would she examine them? How many blood samples do you think she examined all by herself? Mion was right. I couldn't believe I thought Takano-san could do all that just because she was a nurse. It struck me hard to believe that she got that many blood samples and did a high-level examination like that without any help. When I thought about it rationally, I shouldn't have believed such a ridiculous story so easily. I heard that people here don't get hay fever, which is proof of their being infected by the parasite. Only people in cities get hay fever. I heard it has something to do with fuel emissions. Kei-chan, you're talking about Hinamizawa. I mean, even people in Okinomiya don't get hay fever, I think. Well, what about this? I heard that the Sonozaki family has a death squad and that they kidnapped the grandson of a government minister once. That sounds cool. I wish I had a squad like that. I wish I had a squad like that. Even I was sounding ridiculous. But I believed all of it last night. I believed it because Rena looked very serious. It's true that the grandson of a minister was found in Takatsudo. We didn't do it. We just acted as if we did. What do you mean? Please explain. Okay. The Onigafuchi Guardians protested violently during the dam conflict. They did something close to terrorism as well. But there were people who used the resistance movement for their own benefits. They used the name of the Onigafuchi Guardians to rob people of money and valuables. The Onigafuchi Guardians were a very aggressive force at that time. There was a high... Pardon me? There's a high possibility that some people thought they could use the name to extort money. The kidnapping case was one of those incidents. The kidnappers thought they could stifle the police investigation by acting like they were the Onigafuchi Guardians. They kidnapped the boy to demand a ransom. To tell you the truth, the members of the Onigafuchi Guardians were all very surprised. They were actually impressed that those guys actually pulled it off. I remember they even said they'd give them an award. Hay fever being linked to fuel emissions is true? Huh, interesting. For what it's worth, I don't have hay fever. I never get allergies in the spring. Wait a second! Actually, I'm not allergic to anything, as a matter of fact. I think I'm slightly allergic to cat hair. Which is a shame because I want cats, but... yeah, I've, like, pet cats on the street a fair few times, and I've never gotten, like, any reaction from it, so... Now I think about it, I don't think I've ever actually seen any hard evidence of me being allergic. I just was told that I was. Don't know why. Anyway. Wait a second, so the Onigafuchi Guardians had nothing to do with the kidnapping? No. Not at all. Mion said it firmly. It was a simple and clear answer which left no room for suspicion. And thinking about it, it's nothing surprising. Kidnapping the grandson of a minister and negotiating with him in person is a huge deal. The Onigafuchi Guardians were a very aggressive group, but this operation wasn't so easy that it could be carried out by any of the normal residents of Hinamizawa. It was obviously the work of professional criminals, without a doubt. Like I said earlier, the Sonozaki family acted as if we were the masterminds of the kidnapping case. What do you mean by that? This is a secret precept of the Sonozaki family. You can't tell anybody about this, okay? When an incident like this happens, we traditionally act as if we're responsible for it. It's a tradition of bluffing. Bluffing? Really? Yeah. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it works out in our favor. It can be a criminal incident, the weather, or even lottery numbers. We act as if it happened because the Sonozaki family wanted it to happen. It starts to sound like we're a very powerful organization, doesn't it? That's the point. This is the secret strategy that only the Sonozaki family heads know about. This strategy is meant to make us look bigger and stronger than we really are. Wow. So, what about the plan they had during the dam conflict? The one to attack the Ministry of Construction? Was that true? I heard that they obtained weapons and even trained for it. Hey, Panta. We just found out that, it turns out that, there's a conspiracy to revive the cult of Oyashiro-sama, by making the parasitic disease endemic to the region, even worse, and everyone's in on it. And then it turns out none of that's true, and, actually, Mio is full of shit. So, that's what's happened today, as the game has told it. And we're currently talking, yeah, basically Rena told us all this stuff over the phone, and she was like, don't talk to Mion, we can't be sure that she's trustworthy. And then Keiichi thought about it in the morning, and he was like, I completely trust Mion, I'm gonna talk to her about it. And he did, and she's like, nah, none of it's true. It doesn't make any sense. Mio makes up shit all the time. So yeah. That was the spin we put on it. There's no way we could actually carry out a crazy plan like that. Our real goal was to make people believe we were capable of doing things like that so we could exact pressure on the government. That's all. They obtained weapons and went through training just so they could exact pressure. They had no intention of actually carrying out the plan. The Sonozaki family was just bluffing. That made sense. Of course it did. It's impossible to attack the Ministry of Construction. Even if they did, it wouldn't solve the problem. All I had to do was use common sense. Even if they did, they would have been crushed within seconds by a huge number of policemen. Why didn't I think of that? What about the weapons and the training? As for the weapons, no comment. But we did go through training. I gotta hear Mion's voice actress say no comment. Hang on. We needed to do that in order to make the bluff look real. We gathered some younger men from my father's office and appointed Katsai-san as leader of the group. We went to a desert in Texas, played war games with some instructors, and went sightseeing in San Francisco afterwards. So... Oh, that's my medicine along. Give me a second. Well, I can't believe Jamie started streaming while I'm streaming. It's so rude. Wait. Shit, did I miss a day again? I'm really bad about that. Maybe I should take them early in the morning. What do you mean no data? Hang on a minute. Yeah, back to excellent connection. Okay. I couldn't think of anything else. It was obvious now. No, Rena and I both were completely fooled by the scrapbooks of Takano-san's delusion. Rena was so serious about it, so I believed her. But if you examined it closely, there were so many inconsistencies. I couldn't believe Rena took a delusion like that so seriously. I knew the reason why, though. She was still in a state of shock after being caught with the corpses that day. She was mentally unstable. Then she came across this tall tale, and she believed it. Rena's a smart girl. She wouldn't have taken it seriously if she was stable. Plus, another thing happened to wake me up from the delusion. The white van I saw yesterday came to school during the lunch break. The 4 men in work uniforms I saw were there too. I said thank you to Mion and followed them. The man who talked to me yesterday knocked on the door of the teacher's office. Hello, I'm from the Okanogi Gardeners. Oh, thank you for coming. It's very hot today, isn't it?
It sure is. By the way, you look very beautiful today, as always.
Thank you. Well, you can start whenever you're ready.
Yes, we'll start right away. My account manager told me to give this to you.
The quote in the invoice, I see. The date's left blank on both of them. Well, there shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much.
Alright, we'll start right away.
The man was talking to Chie-sensei with a big smile.
What are you doing here, Maebara-kun?
Oh, principal. Who's that guy? The principal pointed his finger at the window. When I looked out, I heard the noise of an engine starting. The noise was coming from the engine of a motorized lawnmower. I saw young men in work uniforms taking another lawnmower, some brooms, and a ladder out of the van.
The gardeners. We haven't taken care of the grass around the fence and the trees for a long time. I wanted to clean them up before summer. Mr. Principal, thank you for giving us a call.
The man noticed the principal, took off his hat, and bowed.
No need. I trust your work. Please take care of things. I think we can finish it today. We might make a lot of noise, though.
Each worker took one of the tools and walked towards the fence where the grass was growing. The engine of the lawnmower was very loud, and the kids who were playing in the schoolyard looked at it curiously. Hey! It's dangerous out here. Go back to your classroom. It was Chie-sensei. She handed an envelope with the documents in it to the principal. It said Okanogi Gardeners in green on the envelope. Principal, please sign the invoice and drop it off at their office next time you go to the town hall.
Of course. Will do.
Chie-sensei, did they come here yesterday? Yes. They came here to look at the grass late in the afternoon. They told me they got lost on the way back because they tried to take a shortcut.
This village has a lot of small roads branching off everywhere, and they could be very confusing.
I remember when I first came here, Chie-sensei started talking about when she got lost, and they laughed together. There was never anything suspicious to begin with. I thought they were suspicious yesterday, because of what Rena had told me. At first, I thought it wasn't unusual to see a white van. But then, right after I heard her creepy story, I saw a white van parked on the road and I got scared. The gardeners weren't familiar with the roads of Hinamezawa, and they got lost trying to take a shortcut on their way back. That's all. I had it totally twisted around? I believed that fake-sounding story. I believed that the Sonozaki family was working behind the scenes, and I fabricated the existence of a group of fanatical believers in my mind. Worse, I doubted Mion. Damn it! I'm such a fool! She's my friend! We took each other's hands that day, saying that we were a family made of friends, and that friends were friends no matter what. I said that, but then I doubted my friend. I'm so stupid. Anyway, Rena was the problem. She also needed to wake up from this crazy delusion. I had to hurry and wake her up. Rena seemed like she had no mind to listen to anyone else. She truly believes that the Sonozaki family are the masterminds of a large-scale conspiracy. I remembered the plate number of the white van, and I also remembered their faces. Without a doubt, this was one of the vans that had been following me. So far, I've confirmed that three or four cars have been following me. I could especially recall this white van because it followed me around the longest of all. The people who are in the other cars must be the lookouts, and the one in this van must be tasked with direct contact, like kidnapping or assassination. The lookouts secure the surroundings, and the ones in this van attack the target. That's a common maneuver involved in both kidnapping and assassination. The scrapbook said that too. If so, I better watch out, because it was them, not the lookouts, who came to the school premises. I don't think they'll attack me while I'm in school. They're in the early stages of their covert operation now, hiding their fangs and claws until the last stage of their horrifying scheme. That's why they won't take action in the school where people are watching. But it looked like they were talking with Chie-sensei in a very friendly way. I could only hear bits and pieces of their conversation, but it sounded very suspicious. I tried to remember the chatter and the movements of their mouths, and I played my memory of it like a videotape in my mind.
Hello!
Oh, thank you for coming. It's very hot today, isn't it?
It sure is. You today?
Thank you. Well, you can start whenever you're ready.
Yes, we'll start right away. My account manager told me to give this to you.
And I see. It's left blank on... Well, there shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much.
Alright, we'll
I used the information I had to guess what was going on. I played the video again and again in my mind, and also paused it and played it in slow motion again to check many times. Then something unbelievably horrifying started to emerge. There's no doubt that they're acquainted with Chie-sensei, but I've never seen them visit the school before, so it's hard to believe that Chie-sensei is their contact. There's no doubt that they're the death squad under the direct control of the Sonozaki family. They have the local accent, which proves they were chosen from the Sonozaki Corps. The death squad was talking with Chie-sensei. They know each other. What's their relationship? Who's Chie-sensei anyway? During the dam conflict, Hinamizawa school was closed and it was merged with the one in Okinomiya. But the Onigafuchi Guardians didn't accept that, and they made a part of the forestry service building into a school. But needless to say, the school they made didn't have a teacher, so it was only going to be a token form of resistance. But a teacher who had a strong passion for education felt sorry for the children, and she came to work there. That was Rumiko Chie-sensei. It was obviously strange. Teachers are government employees, and they normally belong to their prefectures. As long as they lie low and don't cause trouble, they don't get fired and they don't get demoted. They can work up until the official retirement age, and then they're guaranteed to get a fixed retirement fund. She was one of those government employees, but she defied the Board of Education and came to work for Hinamizawa. The villagers admire her as a teacher of passion. I heard that Odio Sonozaki herself successfully negotiated with the Board of Education that suspended Chie-sensei for defying their orders. It was easy to get an answer from this by connecting the dots. Chie-sensei was recruited by Odio Sonozaki as a teacher to work at the school the Onigafuchi Guardians had created. In other words, she was already working for Odio before she came here. As for the principal, he was the principal of the school in Hinamizawa from the beginning. He's a respected person of this region, and he's been closely associated with the three families for a long time. So that means the school has been under the control of the Sonozaki family all along. That's why Chie-sensei is acquainted with the death squad. It makes sense now. Chie-sensei confirmed that I came to school today, made a phone call, and called them here? I don't want to know why she called them here. If she called them just to monitor me, they'd wait near the gate until class is over. But they came onto the school premises. Why? Stop pretending to be a fool, Rena Ryugu. Do you think nothing will happen if you pretend not to notice it? Think hard, and calm down, Rena Ryugu. What will they try to do to me today in school? In school? How are they going to do anything with my classmates and friends around me? It's easy. Chie-sensei will tell me to come to the teacher's office during the last class of the day. What about my clubmates? That's easy too. Chie-sensei can easily make them go home early using her authority as a teacher. She can make up any reason she wants. Maybe the classroom's going to have carpentry work done today, so they can't stay in school.
It sure is. You today.
Thank you. Well, you can start whenever you're ready. See, there's no doubt. They clearly said they're ready to do it today. And what else?
Yes, we'll start right away. My account manager told me to give this to you.
I see. This is left blank on... Well, there shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much. I see. They gave Chie-sensei an envelope with some documents in it. That blank is an eerie phrase. Was my name supposed to be in the blank? Why is it left blank? What does that mean? I told you, Rena Ryugu. Do you still think that nothing will happen if you pretend not to notice it? So what it must mean is that it's an order from higher up. It says to make Rena Ryugu become blank. I took a peek from the shadows, and I saw the principal taking documents out from the envelope. He started reading them. He looked stern. He looked very serious. I wished I could take a peek at the documents, but I was too far away. I kept looking at him just to see if he'd react at all, and then the envelope caught my eye. The envelope said Okinogi Gardeners, and it had some numbers that looked like a phone number.
Pools of blood is A-okay, but say a couple swears you're crossing the line. What are we talking about?
Fortunately, I have good eyesight. I memorized the number. If they're a death squad, the gardening company must be a camouflage operation. It probably doesn't even exist. I wanted to find out. I looked for a phone. There's only one phone, and it's in the teacher's office. Fortunately, the teachers were chatting in the hallway looking at the gardeners. It was now or never. I made sure nobody was watching me go into the teacher's office. I rushed in and grabbed the phone on the principal's desk. I went over the phone number in my head and dialed it up. I'm glad they have a touch-tone phone. It would have been difficult if it was a rotary dial. If somebody answered, I'd only have to ask, "Is this the Okinogi Gardeners?" I'd wait for the answer before hanging up. It should be easy. It connected!
The number you dialed is... I felt a cold chill run through my body from the bottom of my feet.
Wait, don't make a quick judgment. I might have remembered the number wrong. No, I know I remembered it right. It was an easy number to remember. It's impossible to remember it wrong. Then did I dial it wrong? I put the phone down and started over. This time I dialed the number more slowly. The teachers might be coming back at any time. In that situation, it was risky to do anything slowly, but I needed to make absolutely sure. The number you dialed is... It's the same. There's no doubt. The company Okanogi Gardeners doesn't exist. It's just a camouflage operation for the Sonozaki family's death squad. Please make sure the number you dialed is correct. The number you dialed is... I was too stunned to put down the receiver. The announcement kept running over and over again. The voice was cold and creepy. I hung up the phone and rushed out of the teacher's office. I ran to the bathroom and held my head in an attempt to cool down. Calm down, Rena. Calm down, Rena Ryugu. Stay cool. Rena Ryugu. I wasn't safe here anymore. If I stayed here, I might be erased, even in the open. They'd erase me? Why? They aren't certain that I have the scrapbooks. I told Keiichi-kun where I hid the scrapbooks. Yesterday I told him I hid them in my hideout in the garbage dump. Is Keiichi-kun in cahoots with the Sonozaki family? I felt as if my head was a pot that was cooking some dubious stew. There was only soup in my brain. I cut up clues, information, and facts just like I cut vegetables and threw them into the pot. Some of them were floating on the surface, and others were on the bottom of the pot. They were being cooked in a boiling soup. No, it can't be. Keiichi-kun's on my side. He's the only one who's on my side. He held out his hand to me at the trash piles. There was no lie in that hand. When he grabbed my wrist, I felt nothing but his strong and pure heart. He promised me he'd be on my side. I shouldn't doubt Keiichi-kun. He's the only one I should trust. He's the only one who's on my side right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Keiichi-kun. I was about to doubt you. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. I said it out loud on purpose, full of regret that I doubted Keiichi-kun, the only one who's on my side. As I think about it, whether I have the scrapbooks or not might not matter to them. Erase anyone who's suspicious. That's the safest way. Does that mean they're in a hurry? The day of Oyashiro-sama's revival might be just around the corner, and that's why they're trying to get rid of any small fish bones that are stuck in the throat by any means before it's too late. We don't need her anymore. Just erase her if you're worried so much. I could easily picture Oryo Sonozaki saying that. Picture? No, she did say that. That's why they're here today. What should I do? What should I do? Should I wait until school is over? I was like a fish in a pond. No matter how many times I escaped from the net, I was in the pond, and they own the pond. I didn't stand a chance. And what should I do now? I couldn't keep escaping from the net. I should get out of the pond. I didn't know how to fight them. I didn't know who's on my side. I was about to give in to despair. For now, I'd have to think about how to survive this, so I'd at least have time to think about how to fight against them. I have to get out of this pond. When I was about to leave the bathroom, one of my classmates came in. I pretended to be sick and talked to the girl while leaning on the wall. I don't feel good. I think I better go home. Can you tell Chie-sensei I left school early? I shouldn't let Chie-sensei know that I'm leaving school early if I'm trying to run away from them. But if I didn't, they might think I ran away without cause. That might lead them to chase after me without mercy. If that happens, I don't stand a chance. They were planning to capture me after school is over, but I happened to feel sick and left school early. If they took it that way, they wouldn't think that I noticed the noose tightening around me. I was about to go back to the classroom to get my bag, but I changed my mind and turned around. I didn't need my bag anymore. I realized nobody was watching me, so I stopped pretending to be sick and started running. Chie-sensei, take a look at this. Take a look? Is something wrong with the documents? Yes, the date on the quote and the invoice are left blank. They're supposed to put today's date here. Oh, they wanted to leave them blank. They said they couldn't put the same date on the quote and the invoice. They're told to leave them blank by General Affairs.
Oh, okay then. And this, the phone number on the invoice is different from the one on the envelope. Do you know which is the correct one?
Oh, I didn't notice that. Hello, excuse me.
Yes? What's the matter?
The phone number on the invoice is different from the one on the envelope. Which one's correct?
Oh! It's the one on the invoice. I used the old envelope we used to use at our former office. I'm sorry about that. I told our part-timer to add a stamp with a new phone number, but I guess she forgot. I apologize for the confusion. Can you just erase the number?
New tips unlocked. Lunch takeout list 3. Achievement unlocked. Fish in a pond. The danger of a culture-bound syndrome lies in the fact that it can easily trigger delusional misidentification syndrome. That is to say, in the current case, every time the patient sees something trivial, she tries to interpret it as a curse. And it's believed that as a result of the accumulation of these events in an understandable form, a delusional system is created, ultimately leading to paranoia. Furthermore, the patient is also exhibiting slight signs of a personality disorder. Of course, it's at a very mild level, and it's not causing any hindrance whatsoever to the patient's daily life. It's common for even healthy individuals to have primary delusions in their daily lives, but they usually ignore it automatically without recognition, since those delusions are nonsensical. However, there are cases where these delusions accumulate despite being incomprehensible. It largely depends on the particular characteristics of the individual, and it's believed that the patient shows relatively strong characteristics in this area. I believe you're very much aware that primary delusions are categorized into 3 different kinds. Delusional mood is the feeling of impending crisis without basis. Delusional intuition is the feeling of a sense of duty or goal without basis. Delusional perception is the feeling of a baseless cause against a baseless target. In the patient's case, it's believed that these incomprehensible delusions acted out simultaneously with the culture-bound syndrome, which triggered a delusional misidentification syndrome. And it ultimately caused the incomprehensible delusions to become understandable by interpreting them as a curse. The comprehensible delusional system induces understandable secondary delusions, further strengthening the patient's delusional system with the passage of time. The delusional parasitosis mentioned earlier can be considered a secondary delusion. A common factor of all cases of paranoia is that even after an outbreak, they still appear perfectly normal with no change in their personalities. The patients are unaware of their own ailments, and due to their personal interpretations of their delusional system, there are many cases where patients arm themselves logically, making it extremely difficult for a third party to point out that they're having a delusion. Furthermore, although it may depend on the tendency of the delusions, there are also cases where a persecutory delusion turns into a pursuit delusion, or a conspiracy delusion, resulting in the patient creating an imaginary enemy and taking up antisocial behavior. For example, there are cases where believers of a religious cult were deeply influenced by the cult founder's paranoid visions, which shifted the group into a conspiracy delusion, and that made them conduct antisocial behavior in the name of self-defense. Although no such cases have been reported in Japan yet, it could very well happen in the near future. Fortunately, the patient hasn't reached that serious of a condition as of now. With proper treatment, she should be able to make a full recovery. Please make sure that her father also understands that this is not an unusual case, but something caused by the accumulation of a number of innocent factors that anyone could have. The patient can be treated only by deepening her bond with her father. As long as she has that bond, she can certainly be treated. For the reasons above, if the patient is to return to her home village, I strongly recommend that the patient continue to receive guidance from specialized medical institutions. Please excuse me for writing such a long letter. Thank you for reading this until the very end. Very interesting. Let's continue. They were mowing the grass near the fence, which was probably a cover to monitor the surroundings. Just in case, I tried to escape from the school. Sorry. But they must have been thinking that would happen only after school was over. They seemed to have no idea that I'd already noticed their plan and was trying to run away right at that very moment. I couldn't use the front gate since they find me easily. I moved behind the school building, made sure nobody was around the curry garden, ran through it, and dashed into the forest. I walked through the dense undergrowth, stepping on dead wood and climbing over fallen trees. After walking through the forest for a while, I came to a small road. I know many back roads in this village because of our club activities, and that knowledge had finally come in handy. So what should I do now? I'm sure the girl already passed on my message to Chie-sensei. Those men must be going crazy by now, knowing that I ran away. Did anyone else talk to Ryugu-san before she left school? Everybody in the class looked at each other and shook their heads. Chie-sensei looked a bit upset that Rena left school early without telling her in person. Rena-san has been feeling sick these days. Me. She left her bag here. What happened to her? I have a bad feeling about this. What? I think I know what's going on. I'm not sure, but I have a very bad feeling about this. She must have taken another ridiculous story seriously or something. I hope she won't do anything crazy. I hurried home. My father might be at his new job, or he might have gone shopping. He wasn't around when I got there. Now that they're on the move, I'm no longer safe in my house. They're very dangerous people. They're trained to be capable of attacking the Ministry of Construction, and they actually pulled off the kidnapping of the grandson of the minister. Locked doors and windows don't mean anything to them. In fact, it'd be like I was hiding in a box because they could just open up to get at me. I could no longer stay at my home. It's very sad and very frustrating. I killed Rena and Teppei and finally regained a peaceful life with my father. How could this happen to me? I remembered what Keiichikun told me before. It expressed my feelings better than anything.
Takano-san left us a huge parting gift.
Why did she give me those terrifying scrapbooks? Why did she tell me the secret of that unthinkable conspiracy? She got me into this. I didn't do anything. It's all Mio-san's fault. But who was interested in her stories? I was. Who let her continue talking? I did. I did that out of curiosity. Who let the memories of Ibaraki return and told Mio-san about them? I did. I depended on Mio-san, hoping that she could somehow save me from the memories I've been trying to forget. I shouldn't have remembered anything about that bizarre incident. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have gotten involved in that unthinkable conspiracy, and I could have just played around with my friends today. But even if I didn't know about the conspiracy, it'd still continue behind the scenes. I would have been one member of the mob running in a panic, not knowing what's going on the day of Oyashiro-sama's revival. I would have been just swallowed up in their conspiracy anyway. Would I be happier if I faced that day without knowing anything? Would I be happier if I struggled knowing about it, but ending up swallowed by it? If I'm going to end up the same way no matter what I choose to do, I'll fight. I'll choose to fight. Because that's how I seized my happiness before. When Rena invaded my home, seducing my father, I felt like it was the end of the world. I lived on the verge of despair every day. I thought that was the worst misfortune that could befall anyone. But the way things are going, it wasn't really that bad at all. I had only 2 enemies, Rena Mamiya and Teppei Hojo. I knew my enemies, and I knew how many they were. I lured them out one by one, and I attacked them in the dark. It was a very easy problem to solve. But what about this one? I don't know who my enemies are, and I don't know how many or how strong they are. Even the people I once trusted might be my enemies. I can't possibly be sure. It's totally different from the previous problem. This might be the end of the world. This time it really was the worst thing that could possibly happen. But is that really the case? With Rena, I felt like it was the end of the world, but I no longer think it was that bad. So this might turn out to be an easy problem to solve in the end, and I might be able to laugh about it someday. I know that day will come. I know it for sure. So I shouldn't think that this is the end of the world. Let's fight. I can fight. I can still struggle. I'd eat grass and drink mud if I needed to. I'm going to bet on the 1% chance, even though it's unbelievably small. If Mio-san didn't leave me the scrapbooks, I wouldn't have even been able to sit at the table to bet. I was lucky that I received the scrapbooks, because they gave me the chance to choose my future. If I don't fight, they'll spread the terrible parasite, and this village will face a great disaster. According to the legend, when the demons first came out of the swamp, people became demons right after being infected, and it happened while they were inside the village. These days, symptoms appear only when infected people leave the village, but that only applies to the later weak parasite. The original parasite can reenact the curse of Oyashiro-sama even when the infected are in the village. The legend of Oyashiro-sama will be reborn. Humans and demons will start killing each other, and Oyashiro-sama will come down to pacify the disaster. That's what they want. They want people to prostrate themselves before that miracle, and only the people who truly worship Oyashiro-sama will be saved. I see. I know their true intention now. They're going to reenact the legend of Oyashiro-sama. After all, the villagers always say that Rika-chan is his reincarnation. The stage is all set. They're going to use the parasite as the curse. So how are they going to make it look like Oyashiro-sama came down to pacify everyone? I get it. They must have some kind of medicine, a specific cure for the parasite. When they recreated the stronger form of the parasite, they found a cure for it at the same time. They're going to use this cure to save only those people who believe in Oyashiro-sama, and as a result, this village will only have those fervent believers. They're going to make themselves the absolute rulers of Hinamizawa. Wait, I still might be underestimating them. Are they going to carry out that horrifying act of bioterrorism only inside Hinamizawa? History proves that when their goal is to control others, people desire to spread their religion across a wide area. I'm sure that they conducted research not only to bring back the primitive form of the parasite, but also to overcome its weakness, namely that it only thrives in Hinamizawa. According to Mio-san's research, the parasite doesn't like its host to be far from the region. Its weakness is distance. If they could extend the distance, if they could extend the area where it can live... I wonder how far along their research is. By now, the parasite might be able to live not only in Hinamizawa, but in Okinomiya as well. Or maybe even in the city? Maybe the whole prefecture? It might be able to cover nearby prefectures as well. This is too serious to just call it a conspiracy. It's horrifying enough, and its scale large enough to call it a revolution. The day of revival is probably not far off. I can tell by how they killed Mio-san and by some of the pixels. I've seen a few shops in my time. Sorry. And by the extent of their pressure they're putting on me. They're trying to get rid of the small fishbone stuck in their throat by any means, because that day is coming ever closer. I'm the only one who can stand up against their revolution. I can't trust anybody. I think I can trust Keiichi-kun, but no one else. Mi-chan is out of the question. I can't trust Rika-chan either. Sadako-chan and Rika-chan stick together like super glue, so I can't trust Sadako-chan either. I can't trust any adults. I can't trust anybody. No one is on my side. I have to stand up against them alone. The clock is ticking towards that day, and the ticking noise makes me frustrated. How should I fight against them? What should I do? I needed time to think. I needed a place, a safe area where I could concentrate on thinking. Fortunately, I had such an area already. My hideout at the garbage dump. Nobody ever goes there, so it's safe. Rena knows that she has the parasite and knows that it makes people go nuts, but doesn't realize that she in fact might be going nuts herself. Must be because of the parasite. Isn't it a little bit too ironic? What's that a reference to again? Hang on. I can tell by some of the Hey, wait a minute! You can look this up yourself, you lazy asshole! There you go. Oh, to correct makes you stutter. If you correct it in the same message, then just correct the fucking thing. Also, why'd you have autocorrect on? Doesn't work properly. Even if they found out about that place, I'm familiar with its surroundings. I know escape routes and places where I can hide, but it has a big shortcoming as a hiding place. It's not hard to reimagine what that is. I don't have any stock of food there, and that's why I came home. I opened one of my father's drawers and took out his cash box. The contents haven't changed since the last time I looked inside. There are many new 10,000 yen bills in the cash box. I took them all. I couldn't tell how many bills there actually were, but it looked to be about 80 of them. This should be plenty. If I evaded them long enough to use all this money, that would mean that I did pretty well. Plus, I might use it to buy someone off. You can never have too much money, especially in a situation like this. I didn't take the bank book. If they were waiting in ambush at the bank, I'd be done for. It's too risky to withdraw money at the bank. I grabbed my backpack. I took the key from my bicycle. I put everything I think would be convenient to have into the backpack. I didn't care if it got heavy. I'd choose what was necessary to carry around later at my hideout. If there ended up being something I didn't need, I could leave it there. I looked at the clock. It had been 30 minutes since I came home. I stayed here too long. I rushed out of the house. I went to a small convenience store and bought as much sweet bread and canned food as I could fit in my backpack. An old lady was at the register, probably suffering from dementia. She showed no interest in the extraordinary amount of food I was buying. But as soon as the manager of the store checked the sales that night, he'd find out. The idea didn't bother me because I could no longer walk around the village in the daylight anyway. My backpack was full and the cans hurt my back as I walked. But that didn't bother me either. I got to my hideout, still carrying the heavy backpack. I organized the stuff I brought. It was very heavy to carry, but now I had sufficient food. The abandoned construction office still has running water, so I could go get some from there. If I wanted to get some vegetables, I'd want to get some vegetables, but in a situation like this, I could hardly complain. After I organized things, I took out the scrapbooks I hid here and put my brain into top gear, flipping through the pages. So now what? How am I going to stand up against this gigantic conspiracy? I need to calm down, stay cool, but also to think fast. There might not be a lot of time, so I'd have to hurry, but I don't know what to do. It's easy to run to school in the morning when I oversleep. It's easy because I know where I should go, but now I don't know where I should go or what I should do. Now that I've come to this point, I should tell Oyashiro-san everything. It's highly likely he's an enemy, but that doesn't matter anymore. If it was true, I'd just declare war. But if he was on my side, he'd be my only remaining hope. I'm far too weak to stand alone against the terrifying scale of this conspiracy poised to instill fear throughout Japan. I'd have to use a public phone to make the phone call. There's only one public phone in the village that stands at a place where it's hard for people to spot you. That phone booth. It stands in the middle of nowhere where nobody really comes around. Many bugs gather around the light when it's dark, and it's not a pleasant place to go to. but I can't think of any other public phones I can use to contact Oishi-san without being seen. Even though it stands in the middle of nowhere, it's still dangerous to use in the daylight. I should wait until nightfall and take advantage of the darkness. I heard that Oishi-san has been holed up in the station since Mio-san's murder case, so I should be able to reach him any time. I have the number for the direct line to his office, too. The sky was still bright. Even though I had no time, I still had to wait for it to get dark. Frustrated, I glared at the sunset. I should find something to do. I couldn't waste any time that I had, so there must be something to do. After I thought about what I could do, I found there was something I wanted to confirm. Something I've been worried about. I couldn't do anything else before it got dark anyway. Staying here doing nothing would just make me more frustrated. I made my decision and left the hideout. Then his father paced up and down restlessly in front of his house. A bicycle appeared, its rider ringing the bell. "Police officer! Here! Over here!" A police officer from the Hinamizawa police station had shown up. Having rushed to get there, he was breathing hard. I hope you didn't wait too long. Please tell me what happened. I know I locked the door before I left, but when I came back, the door was left open and... He led the police officer into the house. And look, my cash box was left open in my room. Is this how you found it? You didn't touch anything? I didn't touch the cash box itself because I thought they might have left fingerprints. I did touch the contents a little bit to check what was missing. And what did they take? They didn't take my bank books or my personal seal, but they took the cash. They didn't take your bank books or a personal seal, huh? You were lucky. Professional thieves these days don't take bank books because they know how easily they can get caught by using them. This might be a professional cat burglar. Instead of taking the cash box with him, he opened it here. He has to be a pro. So how much cash was in there? I haven't counted it for a long time, but I believe there are about 110,000 yen bills. Ah, I see. Did you tell anybody that you had that much cash in here? No, I didn't. But they probably knew I kept some cash in the house. They? Who are they? Can you tell me more about them? Well, it's kind of an embarrassing story. Her name is Rena Mamiya, and... Just then, the phone rang. Oh, excuse me. I'll just go get that. Please give me a minute. He grabbed the phone. Hello, this is the Ryugu residence. Hello. This is Maibara. Is Rena-san there? No, she hasn't come back from school yet. She hasn't? I'm very sorry, but I'm in the middle of something right now. Can you call back later? I'm sorry. Bye. He hung up after that. I was stunned. It didn't look like anything had changed on the surface. It was hard to find this place at all because it perfectly blends in with the surroundings. I only found this place again because I remembered there was a tree with a big lump of wood on it nearby. The spot where I buried the corpses was perfectly camouflaged, as if nothing had happened. That's why, at first, I thought I came to the wrong place. But I could make certain once I stick a shovel in the ground. I should be able to tell right away whether this place was dug up before or not. After several false starts, I found the exact spot where I buried the corpses. But the biggest problem of all is that there are no bags in there at all! Why? How come? Did I bury them deeper than this? No, I didn't. I remember exactly how deep I buried them. I know I didn't bury them in deeper than this. I wasn't expecting this. I came here to check the corpses. I just wanted to do that to kill some time. I didn't want to stay in my hideout doing nothing, so I came here to check if the corpses I buried were still there. I'd make sure that they were still there, and I'd feel relieved. It was supposed to go like that. This was such an unexpected turn of events that I broke out in a cold sweat. What's going on? What's going on? I don't need to calm down to think about what happened. Corpses can't come back to life and crawl out of the ground. Someone must have dug them out. Who did it, and for what purpose? Did anyone happen to see us burying the corpses here? And did they dig them out after we left? Or if they handed them over to the police? No, it can't be. It's been quite a while since the day we buried them here. It was before the Watanagashi festival. So if the police did find the corpses, when Oishi contacted me, he had to know about Rena and Teppei, but he didn't tell me anything about them. I don't think he was hiding anything on purpose either. So that means the police don't know about Rena and Teppei yet. Then where are the corpses gone? I would leave only one answer. Who knows about this place? One of us came back here, dug out the bags, and took them away. Pardon me. The first person who comes to mind is Mion. Pardon me, Jesus. I mean the Sonozaki family, but I can't think of a reason why they would do that.
The murder of Rena and Teppei has nothing to do with them. I'm sure they don't want to get involved either, let alone be falsely accused. They must want to stay as far away from this case as possible. Why would they want to keep the corpses? It's like keeping a joker even though you'll lose if you have the joker by the end of the game. If I was Michan, what would I do? What would I do if I was club president? The joker is a card that you want to get rid of, at least in the game I mentioned earlier, but it becomes a powerful card in other games. What kind of game would that be? An electric shock ran through my spine. At the same time, I realized it. They're one step ahead of me. The Sonozaki family got the corpses to use them as a joker, as a wild card. They're trying to use them to sell me out to the police. The Sonozaki family is trying to kill me using their death squad, but they want to have insurance just in case they fail. The thing they're afraid of most is that I might work together with the police. If they could prevent that from happening, I'd have no one to work with. If that happens, I could no longer run away from them. I'd still be a fish in their pond. They're going to use the corpses to sell me out to the police for the murder of Rena and Teppei. If the police started seeing me as a suspect, they'd never listen to my story. They could have been my last hope, but this will certainly turn them against me. But I'm sure the Sonozaki family doesn't want to use their joker unless absolutely necessary. After all, Mio and Sonozaki helped bury the corpses. Plus, they don't want the police to hover around Hinamizawa when the day of revival is so close. I'm going to call Oishi tonight, and I'm going to ask him for help. I'm going to tell him everything, including the things I haven't even told Keiichi-kun. I don't know if Oishi will believe me. This is a gamble, and my chance of winning is very small. Plus, my worst enemy has the joker, the bags with the corpses inside. I'm impressed with Mion. That's just what I'd expect from the leader of our club. This is a battle that I'm betting my life on, but to Mion this is like a board game taking place across Hinamizawa itself. Is this another situation of looking in the wrong place like Keiichi when he buried Satoko's uncle? We don't know for sure that Keiichi was looking in the wrong place. As a matter of fact, I believe the soil was loose, as if it had been dug up when Keiichi, at the spot that Keiichi dug it. I grinned, repeating to myself that it's just a game. I put my life on the line for every club activity we do because I don't want to suffer the punishment. This time that's become the literal truth. There could be only one reason why they're trying so hard to drive me into a corner. It's because they're afraid of me. I assumed I was just a little girl with no power, running about in confusion. But my enemy must not be thinking that way. If they didn't think I was a threat to them, they wouldn't take risks like this to drive me into a corner. That means the scrapbooks Mio-san left me must be way more dangerous to them than I think they are. I see. They have a joker, but so do I. The joker I have is so deadly and so powerful that it can break their plot into pieces. That's why they're so eager to find me. A cornered mouse really can bite a cat. I felt my fear towards my enemy fade away all of a sudden. Just as I fear them, so do they fear me too. So this is an evenly matched game. I don't have as bad a hand as I thought I did. I was right to come here. I found out about the card my enemy was holding. This is a big deal. I felt myself shiver with excitement. I grinned to encourage myself. I don't need to be here any longer. They know this place. They might come here to find me. It's not safe for me to stay here for long. I decided to go back to my hideout. On the way back, I passed close to my house. I noticed something different right away. I hid behind a bush and looked at the front gate of my house. My father was talking to a police officer. I strained to catch their conversation. Yes, she usually parks it there. My father pointed to the place where I usually parked my bicycle. Okay. Please let us know whenever your daughter comes back. We'll try to find her as well. Michan, you're good. Did you already play your joker? Mio always starts a battle by attacking without hesitation and wins. It seems like the police are already after me. My chance of being able to explain the conspiracy to Oishi was already small, but this makes it even smaller. No. That's why I'm going to talk to Oishi. He sees the Sonozaki family as his enemy, and he's trying to expose everything about them before his retirement. That's why he'll be on my side. He's not going to fall for their trick. Of course, there's a very high possibility that everything was part of their trap from the very beginning. It's possible that he claimed the Sonozaki family was his enemy in order to make me believe that he's on my side. But their joker is actually giving me hope. If Oishi is one of them, it would be too early to play their joker. Oishi isn't one of them. That's why they got the jokers, so they can play it before I go to the police. No, wait, that might be a trick to make me think that way in order to make me trust Oishi. When Mion gives me two choices to choose from, it's usually better to choose the one I like without thinking too much. Mion, after all, likes to guess people's intentions in order to confuse them. So when you think about a choice too much, you're already in her trap. I'm going to do as I planned. I'm going to call Oishi after it gets dark. If he's going to become my ally, we can talk about the future. And if he isn't, that, I realized, was what I had to think about before it got dark.
no, don't worry about calling so late. I don't get paid overtime, but I'm on duty as long as I'm here.
I started the conversation with an ordinary greeting to try and gauge his reaction. There's a 50-50 chance that Oishi is one of them. If he's their pawn, he'll either lure me out somewhere so he can arrest me, or he'll ask me where the scrapbooks are. But even if he didn't, that wouldn't prove anything. It's going to be difficult to determine if he's on my side or not, and I'd have to tell him about the scrapbooks no matter what. My heart's beating very fast. Even if I was sure that Oishi isn't their pawn, I'd still have to make him believe such a crazy story. I'd have to do that over the phone. Worrying wouldn't do anything for me. This is, I know, a gamble. I have but a small chance of winning. If I didn't put my chips on the table, the game wouldn't even start. I told you a little bit about this before, but I think somebody is following me.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. I wasn't sure before. I thought it was just my imagination, but things have changed over the past few days, and now I'm certain.
What do you mean things have changed?
A few cars have been following me. One of them is a white van with 4 men in it. They disguise themselves as gardeners, but they're actually attack units. I should rechange my reading. A few cars have been following me. One of them is a white van with 4 men in it. They disguise themselves as gardeners, but they're actually attack units.
Attack units? You mean the Sonozaki family's death squad?
Yes. I'm pretty sure that's them. They came to my school today. I managed to escape from them in time, but it was very close.
But why would they do that? Do they think you're trying to sniff out their connection to Tomitake's murder?
Oishi hasn't mentioned the scrapbooks yet. It sounded rather unnatural to beat around the bush like that by mentioning Tomitake's murder. But as I haven't told him about the scrapbooks, it could be a legitimate reaction.
To tell you the truth, I just heard some bad news. I wanted to confirm it a bit more before letting you know, but we did promise to share new information with each other. So this is what I heard. It seems like the Sonozaki Corps and Okinomiya are on the move.
Are you talking about the Sonozaki Corps?
Yes. You might find it a bit of a shock. They ordered their greenhorns to find a certain person.
A certain person? My heart stopped for a moment upon hearing that. Are they?
It's hard to believe, but you're the person they're looking for. They're trying to find you. I just got this information, so I don't know the reason why, but they're mentioning your name.
So you believe my story that my life is in danger?
Yes. It matches with my information perfectly. Ryuga-san, what's going on? Do you have any idea?
What they're really looking for are the scrapbooks I have. They want to know where they are, and they believe that I'm hiding them. They must be thinking that they'll be able to hide the information in the scrapbooks forever if they succeed in shutting my mouth. But I couldn't tell Oishi about that yet. I answered his question by asking him a question. What about you, Oishi-san? Do you have any idea? I can't think of anything.
No, I'm afraid I don't. It's hard to believe that the Sonozaki Corps are using their resources to capture an individual like you. But it's true. It came from a reliable source.
It might be the Sonozaki family who are after me, not just the Sonozaki Corps.
It's very unusual for them to take action like this. They only do this when one of their people runs away with their money or something like that. It's usually about some kind of trouble within the group. They've never done things like this to an honest person like you.
Well, I'm honored to be the very first one, but I need you to do something other than tell me that they've never done this before.
I understand that, Ryuga-san. Please calm down. Isn't it your turn to tell me something now?
What do you mean?
Like I said, the Sonozaki Corps don't take action like this often. They might be under some kind of misunderstanding, but still, it's very unusual that they would do something like this. Are you sure you have no idea? You could have gotten them confused about something without you knowing it. My guess is that you sniffed around the Sonozaki family and found out about a secret of theirs, or they think you did. You can't leave them to mobilize like that by doing nothing. What you did must have been obvious to them. Are you sure you have no idea?
Is he my ally or my enemy? I still can't figure it out. This is it. Make your decision, Rena Ryugu. Maybe they're after me because I have Mio-san's scrapbooks.
Mio-san? Mio Takano? Her scrapbooks? What do you mean?
If he was my enemy, he wouldn't be able to hide his excitement. but his voice remained steady, and it didn't sound unusual when he said the word scrapbooks. Well, I met Mio-san at the library a few days before she was murdered. We talked and got along well, so she let me borrow some of her scrapbooks, in which she wrote about her studies.
Scrapbooks. Her studies.
Yes, Mio-san was studying the history of Hinamizawa. She summed up her findings in those scrapbooks. I think when they killed Mio-san, they found out that some of her scrapbooks were missing, and also that she gave them to me.
They're after the scrapbooks. Ryugu-san, what in the world are you talking about?
She collected all her research about Hinamizawa and its ancient past as Onigofuchi into these scrapbooks. She wrote about the origin of Oyashiro-sama's cult in them too.
The origin of the cult of Oyashiro-sama? You mean the story about the man-eating demons?
Yes. In her research, she discovered a very important secret about Oyashiro-sama. The secret was extremely blasphemous for the people who worship him.
I see. These people, the most devout believers, couldn't accept the result of her research.
Oishi was taking notes. I could hear him writing something while he spoke. They killed Mio-san, and they're trying to get at her scrapbooks. They weren't sure that I had them, so they followed me to find out. But I think they changed their plans yesterday. They're now trying to kill anyone they think is suspicious.
I see. That doesn't sound good at all. I'm going to arrange a security detail for you. And let me take a look at the scrapbooks, too. I might be able to find some clues about her murder.
No, I mean, they might have pawns inside the police force. So, don't worry about me. I can look after myself. Same with the scrapbooks. They're going to try to destroy them, even if they were kept at the police station.
You may be right. If the Sonozaki Corps is chasing after you because of an order from the head of the Sonozaki family, that means our enemy is the Sonozaki family itself. If so, I'm afraid I really can't guarantee that we don't have a traitor among us.
That's what I'm saying. Please don't worry about me. But I have a favor to ask you. It's very important.
Go ahead. What is it?
According to Mio-san's research, there's a horrifying conspiracy at work in the shadows of Hinamizawa, and it's about to be carried out in the near future.
A conspiracy? What's that about?
I got tense all of a sudden. If I tell him everything, it's going to sound like a big lie.
Watch them wanting to find her because she said she has something of car size and they just want it back on. Sis. That'd be funny. Interesting of you to remember little details like that, though. It's a good skill to have in mysteries.
I should leave out the bizarre-sounding parts for now. It'd actually make the story more credible. Fanatical worshippers of Oyashiro-sama are the ones behind the conspiracy. Since the Meiji era, belief in Oyashiro-sama has slowly disappeared, so they're trying to revive the majesty of Oyashiro-sama that the people of Onigofuchi once worshipped.
Go on, I'm listening. I'm just writing this down.
According to Mio-san's research, the origin of the legend of Oyashiro-sama lies in a primitive endemic disease. People feared this endemic disease and called it the curse of Oyashiro-sama, and then someone like a doctor treated the village, and was then worshipped by the villagers as Oyashiro-sama himself. The village was then under his control.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. Go on.
The endemic disease was caused by a parasite unique to this region, but it became weaker with every generation, and now it doesn't do any harm to people, as you can imagine. To them, a harmless endemic disease means no curse of Oyashiro-sama. No curse means no savior. They can't keep the sanctity of Oyashiro-sama like that.
And to revive the sanctity of Oyashiro-sama means they have to revive the endemic disease, right?
That's right. They want to recreate the legend of Oyashiro-sama in order to make Oyashiro-sama a deity again. That's why they're trying to create the original parasite, because it can bring back the more powerful strain of the endemic disease. The true intention of the series of mysterious deaths was to test the results of their research. And now they finally succeeded, reenacting the maggots disease with Tomitake-san. It took them 5 years, but they managed to bring the parasite back to its original power.
What the hell?
The goal is to spread the parasite, use the cure they developed to save only those people who believe in Oyashiro-sama, and create for them a paradise.
Are you sure it's all true?
The scrapbooks say that most of the residents of Hinamizawa are infected by the parasite. There's medical evidence of its existence too.
I can't believe it. Damn it. That hag Oreo is on death's door already. Yet she can't just cross the sticks on her own. This is indiscriminate terrorism. What the hell?
The original parasite could only survive around Hinamizawa, but there's a high probability that they've improved it to be able to survive in a wider area. It's going to destroy not only Hinamizawa, but also Okinomiya, or even the entire city, or the entire prefecture.
Damn it. What should we do? Who's behind all this?
It's the three families. Most likely the Sonozaki family is in charge, but I'm not sure if Oreo is the leader or not. I can only refer to them as they. I also have no idea how far this thing reaches.
Do you know where they're doing all this research? I can shut it down.
I don't know. It's not in the scrapbooks either. Do you have any idea?
It must be a big facility to do that kind of research. You can use a garage for remodeling guns or something like that, but when it comes to parasites, I don't think that would be enough.
Mio-san was a nurse at the EDA clinic. Do you think that could be it? I always thought it was a bit too big and fancy for a small village like Hinamizawa.
Oh, the EDA clinic.
They need a specially designed facility with advanced airtight containment among other considerations to be able to do research on dangerous parasites like this one. It's easy to equate suspicious research with a clinic facility, but it also sounds too easy and a little cliché. At first I thought they converted part of the clinic into a secret research center, but that actually sounds a little too unrealistic. Anyway, I don't know where it is, so please find that out. Can't you just raid every suspicious place at once?
As you know, we need a warrant for that kind of thing. There's a way I can get one even after doing a raid, but I need conclusive evidence that it was actually the research building in question in order to do that.
Oishi is a police officer. If he's going to work as a police officer, he has to follow their rules. But they really are planning bioterrorism! There has to be a reason why they killed Mio-san so quickly. I think the reason is because their day of revival isn't far off.
Okay, I understand. I'll try to do what I can. With an unthinkable plan like this, I imagine it'd be difficult to keep all the Sonozaki family members on their side. I'm sure there are some who are secretly against it. I'll try to make contact with those people. Don't worry, I'm very good at things like this.
Oishi laughed to try to cheer me up. I was upset with the work of the police force, but Oishi's positive reaction is very reliable. He's what you might call an outlaw. Oishi's greatest advantage to me is that he doesn't exactly play by the rules. It's very encouraging that he has that kind of skill, especially since we have to act both very quickly and without conclusive evidence. The police normally investigate incidents after they've happened, but that doesn't work in this case. If this incident actually does occur, it's going to be a big disaster. Mio-san exposed such a horrifying conspiracy. I'm scared.
She met with a very sad end. She was burned in a drum in the mountains of Gifu. I feel very sorry for her. Oh, right, I forgot to tell you something. We found something odd about her death.
Something odd?
Well, at first I thought it had something to do with the case, but after hearing your conspiracy story, it's going to sound like nothing. The crime lab probably just made a mistake.
Please tell me. I want to know. We promised to tell each other everything, didn't we?
I don't mean to hide it. It's just that it might sound like a silly horror story. Ryugu-san, do you remember the night of Watanagashi? After the festival, you and 4 of your friends talked with Tomitake and Takano, didn't you?
Yes, we did. We just talked for a few minutes or so, I think.
Well, we found Takano's dead body that night, but the crime lab in Gifu Prefecture said that she'd been dead for 24 hours when she was found. But that doesn't make sense. If that's true, then she had to be dead the night before the festival.
What's that supposed to mean? I'm confused. If she was found dead on the night of Watanagashi, and she had been dead for 24 hours, that means...
In short, it means she was already dead on the night of Watanagashi. So the Takano whom you saw on that night was a zombie. I got you, didn't I? Well, like I said, I think they just made a mistake.
I felt my brain freezing over. Oishi laughed, saying that it sounded like a horror story from summer camp. But actually, the fact that Mio-san's time of death was off backed up her incredulous theories. I haven't mentioned this one to Oishi or Keiichi-kun. If I did, they start to doubt everything else I've said.
That's how absolutely unbelievable this theory is. At any rate, the mismatch with the time of Mio-san's death means a lot. What irony. Mio-san came up with the theory, and she proved it correct with her own life. No, not yet. This doesn't prove anything yet. If her theory is true, it might happen again. There's no way. It can't be true. I still can't believe it. But Oishi just said it. He said Mio-san was already dead on the night of the festival. It means that the Mio-san who was walking arm in arm with Tomitake-san on that night wasn't Mio-san. Mio-san was already dead, so that wasn't her. That means she was... I felt a new sensation, one I'd never felt in my life before. It wasn't an ordinary kind of dread. It was fear of the truth. No fear is worse than the fear of accepting a truth you don't want to believe. Compared to this fear, the fear of being stalked by the Sonozaki family or being burned alive in an oil drum looked silly. That's how deep of a fear I felt. And I felt it crawling all over my body.
Ryugu-san, please listen to me. I understand you don't trust the police. It's true that the Sonozaki family has control over the entire city. There are some traitors at my station, too. But you're in danger. You can trust me. I want you to trust me as an individual person. I can provide shelter for you. It's in a place nobody knows but me. Please trust me.
I don't doubt Oishi at this point. I actually think he's very reliable. I would have said yes without a second thought. But the situation has drastically changed. If Mio-san's death backs up this unbelievable truth, I trust Oishi. I believe he'll find the enemy and take them down. But I'd rather protect myself on my own than let someone else do it. If the unbelievable truth is real, then I couldn't trust anybody except myself. No, even myself might appear before me too. Oishi-san, thank you so much. Anyway, please find their research center and put a stop to their conspiracy. I'm going to hide somewhere for a while. I'll call you again. I noticed I'd been on the phone too long. I'd been using this phone booth with a light on in the middle of the darkness. In other words, I've been telling everybody I'm here. Crawling up my skin. Yeah. Hello? Hello? She hung up. Oishi wanted to talk more. He clicked his tongue and put the phone down. His junior, Kumagai, rushed into the room. Oishi-san! It's getting really bad now. The one who gave the Sonozaki Corps the order to find the Deteriorate. It's Tatsuyoshi Kasai. Kasai? Akane Sonozaki's right-hand man? Tatsuyoshi Kasai was a pretty high-ranking big shot, even amongst the boss's younger brothers. He used to be the boss of a subordinate branch, but after suffering a bad injury during a gang war, he stepped down, and now he served as the boss's aide. Akane Sonozaki relies especially on him, and as her right-hand man, he's still feared even now. When Kasai moves, other gangs consider it as a declaration of war. They fear him very much. He's a warrior among warriors. He's been lying low these days, but he's led countless numbers of gang wars. He was also the leader of the professional attack squadron that went to the US to receive military training during the dam conflict. They were crazy enough to think of attacking the Ministry of Construction for real. Looks like it's causing quite an uproar among our informants. For what it's worth, I don't think it's just that he wants his thing. That might be part of it. I think it's related, but I think it's more so that they know Rena's missing, and because he cares about Mion, he cares about her friend, and you know the Sonozaki family are looking for her because they're worried. I think that's what it is. They're saying that Rena Ryugu must have found some kind of information that's very inconvenient for the Sonozaki Corps. I'm impressed at how to the point our informants actually are. Still, this is getting serious. Sato-san thinks it's the tape audio in the Ministry of Construction recorded during their secret negotiations. If that's true, it's going to cause quite a few deaths. This is more serious than that, Oishi thought. If her story is true, this is a massive conspiracy. It's going to cause more than quite a few deaths. It might destroy the entire village, or even the entire prefecture. This is going to be the biggest terrorist strike in history. Rena Ryugu is in danger. Kuma-chan, arrange an unmarked patrol car to keep watch on her house. As of today, we're going to put Rena Ryugu under protection. She's convinced she's being threatened by the gang. I'll talk to the section manager later. Well, actually, Rena Ryugu seems to have run away from home.
A police officer confirmed that a lot of money disappeared from her father's cash box. Sounds like she took it and ran away. And I also had a call about a car belonging to the Sonozaki Corps parked in front of her house, too. What? Why didn't you tell me that sooner? Then Ryugu is in great danger! She wasn't calling me from her house then. Oh, we need to find her right away. Get me a car! Arrest the people parked in front of her house. And get some guys over here! They're coming with me! Yes, sir!
What? Rena-san wasn't at home. It's pretty late.
Yes. I waited in front of her house for a while, but she didn't come. She didn't come home.
Maybe she's at a friend's place. She might be at Sis's house with her other friends doing their club activities or whatever.
My side of the thing that I said she has had, but me on my said something about it and me missing that she's worried about it. Yeah, I think we're about to find out actually right now. Shion was lying down on the sofa, picturing her sister and her friends fooling around and playing games like they always did. I thought so too. So I stopped by Mion-san's house, but Rena-san wasn't there either. Mion-san was worried about her too. Oh, really? Well, I wonder what happened to her. She might have been caught by some hoodlum, though that would be unusual. I already told my staff to look for her just in case.
I don't think that's what happened. She's not as weak as she looks.
Anyway, why did she want to see me? Ah, here you go, yeah, it's both. It's sort of both, then. Kasai took off his jacket. Shion only told him to go see Rena because she heard that Rena had requested to see him in person.
Oh. I thought I told you. She said she found something you lost. Rena-san wanted to give it back to you in person. Hey, I guess she likes you or something.
Oh, please. Anyway, I hope she's alright. Right then, the phone rang. Kasai answered it while loosening his tie. Yes. Yes. I understand. At once. Kasai sounded very serious, and Shion immediately figured out who he was talking to.
Who was it? Was it my father?
Yes. The Sonozaki family has sent out an order to find the Rena-san right away and to bring her to the main house.
You mean Audio gave the order? I wonder what Rena-san did. Will she have to peel off her own fingernails? I hope Audio goes easy on her. Poor girl.
Jeez, we're jumping all over the place. Rena hasn't come home yet!
No. I heard that Rena ran away from home and that she's hiding somewhere.
Hiding somewhere? What do you mean?
Also, I just got this information. It seems the police are looking for her.
What?
An unmarked patrol car is watching her house right now. It seems like there are several patrol cars looking for her in the village. Uncle Kimiyoshi received a call from the police, too. He was told to use the town network to find out if anybody knows where she is.
Do you think they found the corpses we hid? We hid them deep in the mountains. They couldn't have found them that easily.
No, it's 100% impossible. I guarantee you that.
Wow, how can you be so sure?
Well, to tell you the truth, I let the Sonozaki family take care of them. They moved the bags to a secret place.
Secret place?
Calm down! Don't worry about it. I heard that there's a major logging project happening this summer on that mountain where we hid the corpses. So I arranged help and took care of it.
I see. So we actually heard about that logging project in a tip immediately after the murder thing happened, where they're like, this is in the mountains, no one's gonna find her. And then they're like, this summer we're gonna be logging the mountains here, we'll need to do a bunch of terraforming or something. Also, fun fact, that's not in the anime! That's one of the biggest details that is just not in the anime anywhere. There's no point where Mion says to Keiichi, yeah, I had the Sonozaki family move the bags. It's not explained. Rena does find out that they're moved, and she gets paranoid, and she's like, oh no, someone found them. And then it's not explained. It's one of the bigger issues. Yeah. Serena, why, I don't understand why you don't just pause when you need to leave
and then watch it at double speed until you're caught up. Like, doesn't that make more sense? I don't remember where you were with Kasai. Were we in the Shion, where Shion was there? Like, everyone's looking for Rena, basically. I see. You're a very reliable person when you're on my side, but you'd be a very scary person to have as an enemy.
I recommend you never underestimate me.
So it's not the corpses they're after. Then why are the police trying to find her?
I don't know. But it seems like many gang members knew that Teppei Hojo and Rena Mamiya were trying to blackmail the Ryugu family. So that might be the reason why the police are after Rena. I don't think they consider her a suspect yet, but they probably want her as a material witness.
That's the same thing! Damn it! Rena finally regained her peaceful life. I'm not gonna let them ruin it. Mio, we need to help her.
Of course! I already told my family in Okinamiya to find her before the police can. You can trust the Sonozaki family. They can protect her from the police, 120% guaranteed.
If just finding her first isn't gonna solve the problem. We have to do something to clear her of suspicion.
I'll think about that after we found her. We can make as many alibis as she needs, and as many witnesses for the alibis as necessary. We have very good lawyers, too. We'll never abandon our friends when they're in trouble.
That's right! We can save Rena! Damn it. I wish I could do more than to depend on you, Mion.
Well, don't worry about it. It's okay to let someone else handle the situation when that person is better at it. This old man will take care of everything. Also, I'll create an alibi to fool the cops watching the whole village. We'll say Rena was spotted near Gogura. The wider the search area, the fewer policemen in one place.
I see. That's a great idea.
This is like nothing to us. We did more during the dam conflict. I'll protect Rena. And Kei-chan, Rena trusts you more than anybody. So she might come to you. If she does, please protect her. And give me a call right away.
Yeah, will do.
Rena's a strong girl. She should be fine. She can overcome this.
Yeah, I think so too. I hesitated to say something. Rena hadn't been her normal self lately. If she was her normal self, I'd have no doubt that she could overcome this. But Rena is deeply convinced that Takano-san's delusions are true. Rena believes the Sonozaki family is behind the conspiracy. I'm not sure if she trusts the Sonozaki family to protect her.
Don't worry, I'm her friend too. She'll understand once I sit down and talk to her. Just like Kei-chan and I cleared up our misunderstanding, I can do that with her. I still can't believe that you believed such a crazy story, though.
Well, I can't believe I did either. This is going to be the most embarrassing thing to ever happen in my life. I really was deeply convinced until I talked to Mion. Even after the promise of friendship we made, I doubted her. Takano-san was endowed with magic. I think the scrapbooks she wrote also carried a spell. The scrapbooks can make people go mad. They're forbidden scrapbooks. Nobody was supposed to read them. Ren is captivated by the power of that magic, even after Takano-san's death. I have to wake her up. I've got a very bad feeling about it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Someone's at the door. It might be the police. I have to go now.
Okay.
I'll tell them that Ren is hiding near Gogura. If they ask you something, just keep telling them you don't know anything.
Okay, got it. Mion waited for my answer, then hung up the phone. After she hung up, I slowly started to feel like Rena was being consumed by some huge, unthinkable fate. It's not only the police I'm worried about. I'm also worried because Rena is ensnared by the power of Takano-san's magic. I fear that she might be suffering from incredible anxiety. Oh, right. Rena might be hiding at her secret base in the garbage dump. Rena once told me that she used to spend time there when Rena-san was at her house. And she told me that she hid the scrapbooks there, too. If she's hiding there... She must be hungry by now. I should bring her something to eat. I went to the kitchen to look for some junk food. My mother looked confused. Mom, I'm gonna go somewhere, but I'll be right back. At this time? It's late. It's very important. I promise I'll be right back. And if Rena comes here while I'm gone, let her stay in my room. And if someone calls and asks you if you know where she is, just tell them you don't know and hang up, okay? My mom looked angry that I was leaving the house at so late an hour, but I rushed out of the house before she could say anything. I grabbed a flashlight from the wall of the garage, got on my bike, and sped off into the darkness. The moon looked beautiful, but in a creepy way. I feel like something terrible is going to happen. I don't know what it is, but I know it's coming. Something is going to happen. The moon, seemingly knowing just what that something will be, looked like it was laughing at us pacing back and forth in confusion.
Damn it! Laugh all you want. Laugh at this funny story as much as you want. Mother, I'm running from my psychotic friend. Yeah. I'm not going to laugh. I'm going to fight. I'm going to smash through whatever fate is waiting for us. Rena, I hope you're there. Maybe my bicycle needs some oil? It was making a lousy noise as I pedaled. Damn it, even my bicycle is laughing at us. New tips unlocked. Them. And achievement unlocked. A village of the body snatchers. Be new tips. What is this Mickey Mouse bullshit? I finished talking with Oishi on the phone and soon left the phone booth. I realized something, and a chill ran through my body. I was in a phone booth that stood out tremendously in the dark. Somebody must have seen me. I was certain I was being watched. I saw glowing eyes staring at me in the dark. It wasn't human. Was it an illusion? No. I knew who they were. They were the ones controlling the three families who ruled Hinamizawa. Its eye level was too low for it to be human, and its outline was vague. I knew from the past records that they were physically frail. The silhouette, which indicated its inhuman appearance, was unbelievably unrealistic, especially its protruding head. One of the scrapbooks I received from Mio-san described their appearance in detail. Their eyeballs were pure red like blood, and their bodies smelled like ammonia. Even though some of them have at times been captured around the world, all of them melted or disappeared, leaving no trace behind. The only traces remaining are the marks proving their descent to Earth. Right then, the impossible, unrealistic silhouette took a step closer. It got closer and closer towards me, making a realistic noise as it crunched across the gravel. The noise pulled me back to reality. Don't come closer! You monster! It kept walking towards me. It sounded like it was kicking pebbles everywhere as it walked. It was coming closer and closer. I was scared, so I said the same thing once again. And this time, the glass door of the phone booth I was in just started to rattle and shake. It made weird sounds as if being struck by something. I screamed loudly in fear and started running. I ran so hard that I felt like my lungs were about to explode. And then I looked back to find that the thing was no longer chasing me. Was it my imagination? There's no way it was just my imagination. I had definitely heard the sound of the gravel being kicked and the phone booth rattling. But I needed to calm down. Right then, I needed to make my heart stop beating so fast. I'd have to fight them eventually. The next time they appeared, I was going to strike back at them. I was going to squash their heads with my big hatchet. I'd protect Hinamizawa. It was my duty to do so. I wouldn't allow them to do whatever they wanted. I saw the lights flickering in my head again. Spooky. Let's save, and I am going to go to the bathroom, so I will be right back. but hyper-realistic and blood-eyed. Anyway, hi. Let's continue. For at least one more chapter. Probably only one more.
Even if I turned down the light in my hideout, nobody would see it because of the piles of abandoned cars in the way. While I'm aware of that, I decided not to turn it on, just in case. It's a bit scary to hide in this quiet place, alone in the dark, holding my breath. I'd have to keep myself busy with something. But my brain won't work properly, and I don't have the energy to think about what to do from now on. However, I don't have the courage to lie down to sleep and regain my strength either. Every time I heard or thought I heard a suspicious sound, I gasped and stared into the dark. That's all I did all night. Oishi believes that the Sonozaki family is behind the conspiracy.
I've actually had nights where, I don't know if this is... I think this is different from a night terror. I don't know if I've had an actual night terror, but I've had nights where I basically just could not sleep because I was just, like, completely fixated on a terrifying thought. And been unable to sleep. It's only happened maybe 4 or 5 times in my whole life. Most recently was about 3 years ago. It's really miserable. It's probably, like, it might be among the worst things I've ever experienced in my life. Don't know if any of you have had anything like that. And if you have, do you know if that's a night terror or is that different? Because I'm not actually, like, seeing any things. I'm just, like, I can't sleep because my brain is just fixated on something terrifying. Anyway.
But he can't do much without solid evidence. For that, he has to locate the facility where they're doing research on the parasite. But we have no idea where that is. I think the EDA clinic is still the most likely site, but I have no credible evidence. Really, I don't think they do their research in a place so obvious even I could guess it. They might be using one of the bomb shelters that was built during the war as some kind of secret underground research center. Now that I came to think about it, I remember a secret building nobody is allowed into on the premises of the Furude Shrine. I think it's called the Ritual Storehouse. According to Mio-san's research, the Furude Shrine is the center of the local worship of Oyashiro-sama. The priest keeps the tools for ceremonies in the ritual storehouse. One of the ceremonies is the bizarre festival Watanagashi, and so the shrine storage must be something very sacred. If I remember right, Watanagashi was also a medical ritual designed to vaccinate and immunize people against the all-too-strong parasites. That means the tools they used for Watanagashi were medical ones. If my guess is right, the ritual storehouse is the most sacred place in the village, as well as the most appropriate building to use for medical purposes. It's suspicious. There might be a secret research center in the ritual storehouse. Damn it. The police should be performing a raid on the ritual storehouse, not the EDA clinic. Why didn't I think of that when I was talking with Oishi on the phone earlier? Oh boy, she realizes this too. Should I go back to the phone booth and tell him about the ritual storehouse? But when I thought that, I heard a car coming closer. I held my breath. It's not normal for a car to come here this late at night. I thought about many possible scary scenarios, which made me nervous. After a while, I saw the headlights of the car near the former dam construction office. Night terrors are screaming and flailing around in your sleep? Oh, really? I thought they referred to, I thought they referred to hallucinating a thing. I thought the terror referred to, like, an actual, like, you know, hallucinating a demon. The demon is the terror or something. Is that not the case? I guess I was mistaken. And now that I think about it, it wasn't just that I had trouble sleeping. It was also that I was, like, sobbing and, like, you know, shaking and stuff. I wasn't, like, screaming and stuff, and I also wasn't asleep, like I said. I could barely fall asleep because I was too fixated and just being terrified and shaking and scared. The car must have passed me by and gone to the office. But it's a deserted, empty office building. There's nothing there. It's not a place where people would visit this late at night. While I was staring into the dark, the engine of the car stopped and its headlights were turned off. I could see 2 flashlights flickering in the darkness. The lights moved into the office building. They must think I'm hiding there. I held my breath and kept watch on their movements. I can't tell who they are, but I bet they're pawns with the Sonozaki family. They know that I ran away from home. They must be looking for me everywhere in the village. Though I needed to conceal my breath, my face started feeling itchy, and I had an urge to stretch my legs. My own body infuriated me. The humidity made me sweat all over, so the back of my knees and my neck had been itchy for quite a while. Scratching would make an unbelievably loud noise, so I decided not to scratch anymore. He usually doesn't make any noise when I just scratch some mosquito bites. I'm probably just being nervous and overreacting. There's quite the distance between me and them, and I'm in the dark, holding my breath.
They wouldn't notice it even if I sneezed, let alone scratched myself. But I didn't want to make any noise at all, so I tried to forget the itchiness. But after all that, I ended up scratching everywhere like mad. I have to live in hiding like this for a while. I don't know how long I can go when I'm so nervous on just the first night. I need to toughen up more so I can remain placid, even in a situation like this. I forced myself to relax, scratched my neck without hesitation, and tried to cope with the sticky sweat all over my body. I started getting hungry. My stomach growled. That's a good sign, though, since it means I'm starting to relax. I can't eat yet, though. It'd make a lot of noise. I decided to wait until they finished looking for me and went away. Go away, go away. I can eat if you go away. It seemed like the intentions I was sending out bore fruit. They'd stopped looking around the building. However, I must have concentrated my thoughts too strongly. They were pointing their flashlights in my direction. Did they notice me? No, not only that, they're walking towards me. I made my body as small as possible, hid under the blanket, and listened for their footsteps as carefully as I could. All the while, I heard their footsteps coming closer and closer. Since the footsteps are coming straight towards me, they must already know where I am, I think. It's scary. There's no way they already know where I am. If they did, they wouldn't have wasted their time looking around for me in the office building, and they wouldn't walk as slowly as they did. It's just a coincidence that they're walking in this direction. Since I'm hiding under the blanket, I can't see who they are. I don't know where they're shining their flashlights, so I can't stick my head out from the window to see who they are either. I just have to stay motionless like a rock until I sense they're gone. They stopped when they came near my hideout. I could hear their conversation. I don't think she's here. Let's look somewhere else. You look over there. I could tell by the sound of their footsteps that they went separate ways and that each of them was walking around the piles of trash separately. I made this hideout out of an abandoned car. I just redecorated it. So on the outside, it still looks like nothing other than an abandoned car. But once you look inside, you can instantly tell it's more than that. So if they look inside, I'm done for. It's obvious that they're looking for me. Are they a Sonozaki Corps attack unit? If they find me, I'll be killed for sure. I know all too well that this place is perfect for murdering people. I killed 2 people here myself. If I can do it, it'll be no problem for them because they're real professional killers. Even so, there's nothing I can do right now. I just have to pray that they'll leave here soon. At that time, I heard a slight beeping sound. This is Atsushi. I can hear you loud and clear. Yes. Gogura? Yes. Understood. What's wrong? Seems like Rena Ryugu is in Gogura. Somebody saw her there. Oh man. That's it. We'll never find her now. What are we gonna do now? It's in order. We have to find her no matter what. We have to bring her to him. It doesn't matter if she's in Sapporo or Hakata. We have to find her. I know where Sapporo is. That's Jubilife City. In the capital of Hokkaido. Where's Hakata? I'm curious. Hakata Fukuoka. I had a feeling it would be in Fukuoka. Yeah, that's the Hoenn equivalent. Is this Rustboro? Hang on. BPA Pokemon world in relation to the real world. I'm curious, is Hakataku close to anything? Hoenn? Rustboro is not that. I'm curious. Hakata. Let's do it again. So it's in Fukuoka Prefecture, okay. I mean... This is so not important, but I'm curious. Okay, let's zoom in on its location. If I can. If I can do it on hard. Let's see. Let me look at Hoenn. That's totally Rustboro. Okay, it's yeah, Rustboro or July Horosper. I don't see the issue with you. Lol. Anyway. We have to find her. It'll be impossible to find her, though. Do we still have to look? Rena Ryugu has Mio Takano's scrapbooks, and he wants them. He was pretty upset about it, so I'm sure they're worth a lot. So what are we gonna do? It seems like he recalled the others, except the ones who were watching our house. So we should go back to the office, too. Let's have some barley tea or something. I heard their footsteps going further, and then I didn't hear them anymore. After a while, I heard the engine of their car starting. I finally got out from under the blanket and looked outside the window. The car made a U-turn and drove away. The sound of the engine faded away into the darkness. I heaved a sigh of relief. I scratched at all of my itchy mosquito bites. I wiped the sticky sweat off my face and neck and finally allowed myself to cough. I'd heard their conversation clearly. They were the pawns of the Sonozaki Corps, without a doubt. It matches with what Oishi told me, and they said something very important. They clearly said that they're after the scrapbooks. Pardon me. Up until now, I'd only assumed that they were chasing after me because I had Mio-san's scrapbooks. I could have forced myself to believe that it was just my assumption, but they said it loud and clear. We need to find Rena Ryugu. She has Mio Takano's scrapbooks. That's what they said. They also said that they're keeping watch on my house. I'm not surprised. That's exactly what I would do if I were them. I can't go back to my house anymore. It's out of the question. But, in fact, they said something way more important than any of that. They said that Rena Ryugu was seen in Gogura. If I was in a normal situation, I'd probably think that somebody saw a look-alike and I'd laugh out loud. But the situation is different now. Mio-san was dead, but she was at the festival. I'm here, but I was in Gogura. Mio-san wrote about it in her scrapbooks, and I didn't want to believe it. They're coming closer to me. And I don't mean the Sonozaki family. Something beyond common sense is about to happen. Should I fight or should I run? I don't even know what I should do. I feel like I'm rooted to the spot with fear. Am I about to be eaten? No, no, no! I don't want to be eaten alive. I want to run away if I can't win. If I can't run, I want to fight. I'm going to be happy. I know I am. I'm not going to sit pretty and let them get me. But the enemy Mio-san foretold of in the scrapbooks is coming closer to me, and it's starting to eat me up. I'm in the garbage dump alone. If I disappeared right now without anybody knowing it, the person who was in Gogura would replace me and start living my life. Nobody would notice the change. My father wouldn't notice it. My friends wouldn't notice it. It would replace me without having anyone noticed it. Wait. Many people close to me might have been replaced already. That's right. The Sonozaki family is plotting bioterrorism. That's only a part of what they are planning. Mice possessed by them don't get scared of cats. As a result, they don't run away. They'll be eaten by the cats, and they can move into the cats' bodies. Mice are only used by them for that purpose. It's not that they lose their fear of cats in order to help them achieve their purpose. The same thing goes with the Sonozaki family. They think they're doing things by their own will, but they're just helping them without realizing it. That's exactly how they've lived since long ago, being the parasite. We're nothing but a bunch of mice to them. Most mice are stupid. They don't notice their existence. They help them to achieve their purpose, thinking they're living their lives by their own will. But very rarely, a mouse with wits is born. This mouse notices that he's being used, and he also notices their existence. But nobody believes them, so it's not a big deal. He starts thinking that it was his mistake, and he gets swallowed by them. Eventually, he disappears. But even more rarely, a mouse appears from nowhere, notices their existence, and objectively proves it. That mouse was Mio-san. To them, this mouse was a rare and very dangerous existence. That's why they resorted to unbelievably bold and violent methods to try and eliminate that mouse when it appeared. But surprisingly, we knew about those measures. But the stupid mice don't believe it. They don't notice that they are forcing them to not believe it, and that they're helping them in the end. They killed Mio-san. And they tried to replace her, but they made a mistake. We found the real corpse of Mio-san. That's why they failed to replace her. They'll try to kill me and replace me too. Or they'll replace my friends in order to get close to me. They'll look just like the real people, but they're totally different inside. They're an abnormal existence that's beyond our imagination. I know they'll appear. No, they're already here. It appeared the day after Mio-san died, and it appeared in Gogura tonight. They'll keep coming. They're openly after me now. They'll keep coming. They'll keep coming. Right then, I heard somebody coming down the slope. I concealed my presence again and looked at the direction where the footsteps were coming from. I could see one flashlight. It looked like there was only one person now. Who is it? It's late at night.
Its shadow is very small. I can tell it isn't an adult. I felt a chill running through my body. It shined the flashlight towards my hideout, and its footsteps were coming straight towards me. It's different from the other guys earlier. I can tell by the sound of the footsteps, and because I've seen many shops in my time, and that it knows I'm hiding here for sure. No, it must just be a coincidence. I should just conceal myself again. I can make it through this again. I made it through last time. I need to hide. I need to hide! I pulled the blanket over myself, made myself as small as possible, and kept telling myself that I was a stone. But the footsteps kept coming closer and closer. And it knocked on the door of my hideout. I opened my eyes wide. I broke out in a nervous sweat. Not wanting to believe that the sound I heard was a knock, my mind went completely blank. But it knocked on the door again. I could feel a light shining on the blanket. It might be shining the flashlight on me, but I still held back my fear. As long as I don't move, it can't put a finger on me. I kept telling myself that as if I was casting a spell. I tried not to shake in fear. It laughed. It has laughed at me because it thought I was still hiding perfectly. But I still tried. Because if I got out of the blanket... What are you scared of? I threw off the blanket and saw the owner of the voice. It is Rika-chan. Oh, why is she here? Why did she come here to see me? I don't understand why she came all the way here alone this late at night. I realized all of a sudden, she looks just like Rika-chan on the outside, but she's not her. It is just copying her appearance. It came to Mio-san, to me, and to Rika-chan. I decided to talk aggressively on purpose in order to work up courage before my fear crushed me down. Is that you, Rika-chan?
Me.
Who else do I look like?
It answers just like the Rika-chan I know. But I know it's not Rika-chan. Rika-chan wouldn't come to a place like this so late at night. I know who you are. I know you're not Rika-chan. I'm afraid you can't deceive me like you can the others. Even though you look like her. I know you're not Rika-chan. You're not my friend, Rika Furude. Who are you? Rika looked stunned for a while. She looked as if she didn't understand what I was talking about, but she pretended like that for too long. If she really didn't know what I was talking about, she wouldn't be able to stand the silence for this long, but she kept quiet. And she finally showed her true character. It laughed. It laughed at me because I figured out something that was almost impossible to figure out. That it was not Rika. Who are you? It didn't answer my question. It kept laughing for a while. And then, it looked straight into my eyes in a way Rika-chan never did before. And it said this. I've lived for quite a long time. But you're the first one who penetrated my disguise. I always thought you had good intuition, but you're pretty good. She clearly spoke to me the things that I was most afraid of. I was completely shocked. It's like she told me everything that could possibly scare me. I didn't want to hear any of this. It's something I can't possibly twist in a way I can comprehend. Let's just say I'm Rika for now. It's been a while since I started to call myself that. Oh, really? It's been a while, huh? Like how long? Not that long. It's only been about 100 years. What? What are you talking about? I'm contradicting myself. I know the person who's standing in front of me isn't Rika, but at the same time I deny its existence. As long as humans hold this kind of emotion, they can never accept unknown existences. In other words, we can never accept them. You don't have to be scared. You're in the car.
I'm outside of it. It's not easy for either of us to do something to the other. I think this is a perfect distance between us. No matter how long I've lived, Rika Furude is just a little kid. You're still stronger than me. I should be more careful than you, because you could snap and jump on me anytime. I realized that this creepy thing that looks just like Rika was only here to talk to me. I felt my tension fade away a little bit. But still, I don't know what she wants to talk to me about at a place like this so late at night. I'm like a fish on a cutting board. There's nothing I can do other than to wait and see what's going to happen. You sort of had those more to Rika spoiled. I mean, the game has implied it in other... I mean, the visual novel has implied it in other ways. I waited for it to make a move for a while, and then it opened its mouth again. You're afraid of something. Am I right? It uses sarcasm. Rika-chan's cute face looked uglier than ever when it smiled. I held back my fear and tried to reply firmly. Yes! Thanks to you. So, what are you afraid of? You should know that better than anybody else! It told me earlier that we were safe from each other because one was in the car and the other was standing outside. But it's obvious that I'm the one who's being driven into a corner. While I'm talking to it, I could be surrounded by its minions. I got scared and tried to listen to the sounds of my surroundings carefully. Don't be scared. I came here to help you. You came here to help me? Oh, really? I wonder how you're gonna do that. You're just sick at the moment. You need medicine. That's all. Would you be interested if I told you I brought it along? Medicine? It put its hand in its pocket and took out a small case. It opened the case and showed me what was inside. What was in there made me gasp in surprise. A syringe? It's not normal for a person to carry around a syringe. I have no idea what's going on. But what Rika-chan is holding in her hand is a syringe. There's no way I can twist that fact around. That's right. The contents of this syringe are going to help you get better. It'll help me get better? Ha! I know what it is. It's the drug that killed Tomitake-san. It's the parasite at its full strength. It'll give me the maggot disease. This is a different drug from the one that was used on Tomitake. I promise. Bro, that syringe. It giggled. It isn't the giggling that scares me. I'm scared that it admitted the cause of Tomitake-san's death so easily. And it also admitted to the direct cause of the maggot disease that Tomitake-san died from. I know you're going to kill me in the same way he died, and that the Rena and Gokura is going to replace me. Problem solved, right? I'm not going to let you give me the shot! Well, I knew you'd say that. This syringe looks very suspicious, of course. You're smarter than I thought. So what now? Are you going to gang up on me and give me the shot like you did to Tomitake-san? Tomitake-san's autopsy report said that he had bruises on his body that proved he was fighting against several people right before he died. That means they must have ganged up on him to give him the shot against his own will. I'd like to give you the injection by force, but it never really works. So I gave up on doing that. I decided to let you choose to take it yourself. Are you kidding me? I don't want to take that creepy shot. I thought about it many times. I thought about how I could make you take the injection. I can't force you to take it. I can't make you agree to take it either. Then it leaves me only one choice. I have to let you choose to take it. You should know my answer already. I'm not going to walk into such an obvious trap. Well, that's what I thought you'd say. I didn't expect you to choose to take it anyway. It heaved a sigh, made a gesture as if it is mocking me, and smiled bitterly. It looked as if it was saying that I'm a lower animal that can't understand it's being given a chance for salvation. I kind of want to say I'll take the shot on a dare, but I know that's exactly what it is intending to do. Go back to your home and tell your friends that you failed to give me the shot. I'm not going to let you beat me. I'm going to fight till the end. And I'm going to seize the 1% chance of winning, and I'm going to destroy all of you! I see. Then you should try to do that. This world is going to end soon anyway. End soon? It has nothing to do with you. A frog sitting in a well doesn't need to have any interest in the world outside, does it? At this stage of the game, it said something very dubious. I tried hard to understand what this horrifying creature was trying to say. What are you going to do to me? Nothing. Do whatever you want. What? It's almost too easy. As far as I know, do whatever you want means ignorance or release when your enemy says it to you. At the very least, it isn't a bad thing. Or does it have another meaning? In that way, I overinterpreted the meaning of the sentence. But then it said it again. Do whatever you want. I'm not interested in this Haraneryugu anymore. I'm going to try to get along with the next Haraneryugu. I have to pray that the next Haraneryugu doesn't have such good intuition. I was scared of it, like I'd be scared of a judge handing down a death sentence. I used to try really hard to fix things every time a little problem occurred. But I got tired of it. I'm not interested in this Hinamizawa anymore. I'm gonna find the next Hinamizawa. But you only have this one. So I hope you live as best you can. It was telling me scary things one after the other. So it was obviously a warning of Hinamizawa's destruction. It means the climax is coming soon. They have already prepared another Rena. When I lose to this fate, they are going to replace me with that Rena as if nothing happened. They're very well organized. Did you just confirm we've been going in cycles? Yeah. What humans are most afraid of is for their lives to lose all value. Your life becomes worthless when you're told that you have a replacement. It's like an indirect death sentence. It closed the syringe case and put it back into its pocket. It turned around and started climbing the slope. At the top, it looked back and spoke without as much as an evil smile. Well, goodbye, this Haraneryugu. I hope I can get along with the next Haraneryugu. I shouldn't worry, because I do usually get along with them. I'm not gonna let you replace me with the next Haraneryugu! I'm the only Haraneryugu! I'm not going to let you do it! Never! Ever! I wondered if my scream was reaching it. It looked at me coldly. It looked at me as if I was just an image of the past on a TV screen. It's fun to have a conversation like this once in a while, huh? That laughter gradually disappeared into the darkness. It disappeared into the darkness as well. I was the only one left there. I'm forsaken, and they don't care if I disappear. They told me I should struggle as much as I want because it doesn't matter anyway. They already have a replacement. They don't need me in their Hinamizawa anymore because my intuition is too sharp. When I realized that, I noticed that this garbage dump is a perfect grave for me. Then I realized that this place wouldn't work as a hideout anymore. I better start packing and move somewhere else. It told me to struggle as much as I want. I'm going to do that. Just that, damn it. Damn it! I have to get ready to move out from here. I'm going to put everything back into my backpack. I have to leave here as soon as possible. The light of the flashlight wasn't enough to see by, so I turned the table lamp on. The light made things show up very clearly. When I reached my backpack, I realized something and gasped in surprise. The palm of my hand was covered with an eerie liquid. I thought I'd wiped off my sticky sweat earlier, but it wasn't my sweat. Then where did this blood come from? I realized it right away. I was scratching the mosquito bites on my neck earlier, and I scratched them until it bled. When I noticed that, I remembered the sensation, the mixture of pain and itchiness. I felt something moving near the wound on my neck, so I scratched it again to get rid of whatever it was. My hand got sticky and wet with blood again. I can't see what the things are because I don't have a mirror, but I know. They're already spreading throughout my entire body, causing the itchiness on my arms and the back of my knees. If I'd never experienced this before, I'd think I got bitten by a bad bug or something. Unfortunately, I already know what's causing this itchiness. Why? Why? I said it with hatred. Why now? Why here? It's the maggot disease, without a doubt. If I cut the veins on my arms, the dusky red gross things would flow out. But it's impossible. I didn't get any suspicious shots. But it doesn't have to be a shot. They might have put the drug in my food, and I might have eaten it without noticing. I don't think they put it in the food at my house, but I used to share lunch with my friends at school. They might have put it in the lunches. That Rika who visited me just earlier was shining the flashlight on me, so she knew that I was scratching my legs so hard it bled. Nevertheless, she acted like there was nothing wrong, and she told me that I wouldn't last long. Now I know why she was laughing at me in a sarcastic way. She knew that I wouldn't have much time left. It itches very badly, but I can't scratch. The more I scratch, the itchier it gets. And I'm not going to do the same thing Tomitake-san did. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Itchiness might not be temporary. It might actually get worse. I don't know if it's going to stop soon or if it's going to last until I die from it. I don't know anything anymore. I just have to endure the itchiness. I wiped the blood on my neck with a towel, clenched my teeth, and tried to erase the desire to scratch my neck. The wound was throbbing. I wanted to scratch it so badly. I couldn't do that. I fought back the desire, biting the end of the towel. I scratched other parts of my body really hard in order to forget about the itchiness on my neck, but it didn't really work. I just prayed for the itchiness to go away, closed my eyes, and fought back the desire. That seemed to be the best way. I let my mind go blank, breathing hard for a while. I felt the itchiness got a little bit better. I took a deep breath, and I immediately started panicking. Staying here is more dangerous than the itchiness. I have to leave here as soon as possible. I felt it while packing my stuff. I felt the end coming closer. The end that Rika-san told me about earlier. I assumed I could live until the end, but I might have been wrong. I might follow the same path Tomitake-san took, way before the end comes. I was sweating like crazy, and it felt so nasty. I know it's not sweat, but I'm going to think that it's sweat for now. I wiped my neck with the towel and hurried to leave. Spoopy. One second. Okay. This area has no streetlights, so I was scared to run fast when I could barely see. The moon lit up the sky, but not my steps. The only light I had to see by was my flashlight. The light was very weak. All I could see was the flat gravel road before me. Anything the flashlight couldn't reach was in total darkness. The expression often used in novels, pitch black, wouldn't be inappropriate. I might trip over an empty can or a rock any time. Not wanting to fall, I used the flashlight to its maximum extent to watch my step, but I was still a bit nervous. I started running slower and slower until I was just walking briskly. Did I just stop running because I'm afraid of tripping in the dark? But I usually run around without watching my step during the day. I run around with Rena and Mion all the time. Even if I can see what's underfoot, I don't pay any attention. I don't think I might trip. I just keep running around without a care. Rena might be feeling the same way I am right now. For Rena, the light with which she illuminates the darkness of suspicion is too weak, and the darkness of the delusion she believes in is getting darker and darker. That's why she's scared to even walk on the same road she always used to take. She fell for the contents of those ridiculous scrapbooks. People might laugh at her for that, but those scrapbooks aren't normal. They manipulate their readers' hearts, and with evil intent, take advantage of their vulnerabilities. That evil intent captured my heart for one night. That's why I know how evil they are. They're just urban legends, like the prophecies of Nostradamus, or the Purple Mirror. Okay, what's the Purple Mirror? Am I gonna regret this? Well, there's nothing on Wikipedia about it, so, I'm not looking that up. If you guys want to look it up and, summarize it to me, then feel free, but, yeah, I don't like to, I don't like to look up potentially spooky stuff. Unless I can do it on Wikipedia, and even then... They're a bunch of feasible lies, and when you hear about them at first, you think they're too stupid to believe. But once you fall for them, it's hard to get them out of your mind for some reason. It'll be the year 1999 in less than 20 years. Everybody knows about the prophecy that the world will come to an end in July of 1999. There are even some TV shows about it, too, which irresponsibly fan people's fears, so some people take it seriously. Those people think that the prophecy means the outbreak of nuclear war, so some of them are making shelters in their backyards. Some of them are thinking about freezing themselves by 1999 so that they won't be exposed to radiation, only waking up after it's gone. Those people are completely serious about it. But when you think about it rationally, it's impossible that there'll be an outbreak of nuclear war in 1999. It's true that the Cold War makes us think that the final war will break out any time, but both powers are actually pointing their nuclear missiles at each other, and they know there's nothing to gain for either of them to start a nuclear war. Found it? What is it? The Soviets might still do it. The Soviets would destroy the world if it meant eradicating liberalism. But that delusion that the Soviets might do it could be neatly swapped for the way Takano-san uses the Sonozaki family in her scrapbooks. When people create a large-scale delusion like the prophecies above, they always use an incomprehensibly unknown enemy, such as the Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, or aliens. And they say something like, you never know, they might do things like that, to try and increase the credibility of their delusions without any evidence whatsoever. What did Takano-san know about the Sonozaki family? Nothing! All she did was use the history of Onigafuchi and say that the Sonozaki family is still working behind the scenes, plotting a horrifying conspiracy. It's just like one of those large-scale prophecies. It's nothing but just a stupid story like that one about Nazi Germany, which says that Hitler is still alive and lives in an underground complex somewhere on the South Pole, continuing his plot to conquer the world. Rena usually doesn't believe in stupid stories like that, but it was just bad timing, I suppose. It was right after she killed Rina Mamiya and Teppei Hojo, and was caught by us. She was in a state of panic when she heard the story. We were waiting for her to recover from the shock, but before she did and regained her strength of heart, a poison got into her and spread all throughout her body. When you're sick and have a weakened immune system, it's easy to get another disease. It's just like that. That's it. Rena is just sick right now. When you're very sick in bed with a high fever, you sometimes feel like you might die from it. But most of the time, you're just overreacting. You get better soon after you take a medicine, eat healthy food, and sleep a lot. That's how she is right now. She caught a mental cold. That's all. She needs to get better soon, or she might get caught by the police. I passed several patrol cars on my way. I hid every time I saw one, since I didn't want to be questioned. I was probably passed by them twice. When I came close to Rena's house, I saw a car parked near the gate. It was obviously watching her house, trying to capture her when she'd arrive home. Mion ordered the Sonozaki family to find Rena to protect her from the police, but honestly, I'm not sure if they can. After all, Rena believes that the Sonozaki family is after her. But if they don't find her, the police will eventually. If that happens, all of us who helped her bury the corpses will be caught by the police in the end. I don't know how or why the police came to suspect her. I think they only have some circumstantial evidence. I don't think they know she did it for sure. But since they're looking everywhere for her now, they must have some kind of reliable evidence. Rena, come on. You don't have time to play around with Takano-san's scrapbooks right now. The police are after you. It was so dark that I couldn't be sure if she was down there, but I made up my mind and headed down the slope, carefully shining my flashlight to light my way. I wanted to loudly call out Rena's name, but there might be some policemen nearby looking for her. I walked around a trash pile, and then I saw a light. It was Rena. I ran towards her hideout, kicking aside the trash in my way. Rena was standing right in front of her hideout, holding a hatchet. I couldn't blame her. She must have noticed all the noise I made coming down the slope. Rena, it's me. Keiichi-kun. Sure have a lot of visitors tonight. Who else is here? I shone my flashlight around, but I didn't see anybody else. I'm leaving because it's not safe here anymore. Sick girl that gets a mirror. that she paints purple and later regrets it and then dies. I don't really want to read it, no. That sounds kind of stupid. I'm not sure I understand what the scary part is supposed to be. Like, I mean, I guess because she dies, but like, why does painting a mirror purple make you die? If you're not going to summarize it, don't worry about it. I don't need to know. I don't want you to know where I'm going, so please don't follow me. Rena! What happened to your neck? You're bleeding! I'm okay. They might come back again, though. Rena's neck was all red. It looked like she had some kind of skin disease on her neck. She probably couldn't bear the itchiness and it scratched at it really hard. You need to do more than just wipe it with a towel. Come to my house. You need to clean it up. Don't worry about it. It isn't an injury. And it's too late anyway. Too late? What do you mean? Even the full explanation sounds stupid? Okay, don't worry about it then. They must have put the drug in my food without me realizing. It's the drug that killed Tomitake-san. They probably used a syringe to inject him with the drug, but they changed their methods this time. I think they put it in someone's lunch. Don't you remember? Mi-chan gave out a piece of her omelette to everyone the other day at lunch. She must have put it in the omelette. She's smart. She used a slow-acting drug this time. Damn it! Then I kicked the dirt with hatred. She was almost literally kicking Mion's goodwill to the curb. Hey, Rena, are you seriously saying that Mion would do such a thing? Rena looked stunned as she stared straight at me. I noticed a slight accusation in her eyes. I can tell by looking into her eyes that she wants to say, "What are you talking about? I already told you that the Sonozaki family is the mastermind behind the conspiracy." First of all, Mion didn't give out her omelet to everybody that day. Mion cut her omelet into 5 pieces, and she told us to take one if we wanted. Then I took the end piece of the omelet before anybody else took one. She said it looked cute and ate it right there. No, that's not what happened. Mi-chan tried to make me eat the omelet because she put a drug in it. Rena, stop interpreting everything so conveniently. Mion just put the 5 pieces of the omelet on the lid of her lunchbox. No, she didn't. She gave out each piece to every one of us. Rena, think about it. Have we ever done something like that before? We usually take whatever we like from everybody else's lunch. Nobody's ever said something like, "This is your piece, so take this," or "This is her piece, so don't take that," you know? She looked at me with that accusation in her eyes. To Rena, everything that comes out of my mouth must sound like a lie. To her, it's a fact that she was poisoned. She knows for sure that the drug was in the omelet. That's why she's contradicting me, because I'm saying something different. I didn't come here to make her mad. I realized that disagreeing would only escalate her anger, so I decided not to. Anyway, you said this place isn't safe anymore. Where are you going to go then? Well, I'll find somewhere. It's not that easy to find a place to sleep. Why don't you come to my house? I appreciate your offer, but I can't do that. The Sonozaki family is looking for me everywhere in the village. I don't think you'd betray me, but I don't think you can hide me from them either. It's not the Sonozaki family who are looking for you. It's the police. Why? Oishi-san is on my side, and I told him to leave me alone. I don't think he's looking for me. I think they know that you killed Rena and Teppei. Oh, I see. I was relieved that we were finally on the same page, but I realized I was wrong right away when she laughed in self-derision. Keiichi, you're alone with a psycho holding a better weapon instead of arguing with her, you should run. Keiichi wants to help her. Do you know how the police found out that I killed them? No, I have no idea. Nobody saw her killing them. Nobody saw us burying the corpses. We buried them deep in the mountains, and we camouflaged the spot perfectly. Plus, Mio moved them to a secret place afterwards, so it's impossible that the corpses would be found. I went there this evening. I went there to check the spot where we buried them. Guess what I found? That didn't sound good. Of course. Rena has no idea that Mion took care of the corpses. She'd think the corpses were still buried there. They weren't there. The corpses. Somebody dug them out and carried them somewhere else. Rena, that's because, it's impossible that someone happened to dig them up. I chose the place. So the only people who know about the place are me and my friends who were there. That's right. Well, the thing is, I know who did it. It's Mi-chan. They didn't want me to work with the police. They needed to have some insurance. But I didn't think they'd use the police to find me. I guess they don't care how it looks anymore as long as I'm captured. Come on, do you really think Mion would do such a thing? She did! Mi-chan sold me out! No, she didn't. Mion is your friend. We're all on your side no matter what happens. Even if the whole world turned against you, we'd still be on your side. Even if the whole ocean evaporated, Mion would never sell you out. I don't understand why you're defending her. It's just the opposite. I don't understand why you're doubting her. It's simple. Mio-san revealed the existence of the conspiracy to me, and the fanatics are— Shut up! Shut up! I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you like that. I apologize. So, please, listen to me. The corpses are gone because Mion dug them out. See? I told you! Listen to me until I finish, okay? Mion dug them out because she found that the place isn't going to be safe for much longer. There's a logging project scheduled to begin on that mountain this summer. That was why. That's why she dug them out, to save you from being caught. Rena laughed at me like I was stupid or something. I could tell she didn't understand anything I was saying. Don't you get it? Mi-chan made that up. She just wants to look good when you're around. She's a dirty bitch! Hey! Then what was she supposed to do? Are you saying that she should have left the corpses there knowing that the forestry service would find them this summer? She couldn't do that because she's your friend! Why can't you understand that Mi-chan made everything up, including the logging project? You're the one who doesn't understand anything! After I yelled at her, she gave me an icy look. She stared into my eyes, as if trying to find out what I came here for. I came here to wake you up. You're possessed by an impossible delusion because of Takano-san's scrapbooks. At first I thought it was interesting, but this is getting way out of hand. You know why? It's because they're making you sick. Oh, the girl who just looked just like Rika-chan told me the same thing. You're actually right about that. I mean, I do have the maggot disease, so... No, you don't understand! Listen to me very carefully. You need to lie down and rest for a while, okay? It'd be a lot safer to stay at Mion's house. She can protect you from the police. But if you don't trust her, you can stay at my place. Either way, it's not good for you to stay somewhere uncomfortable like this. Let's just go to my house for now. We'll have some cold tea together. It'll cool your fever down. Then you'll realize how crazy all this was. What are you talking about, Keiichi-kun? Are you saying that I'm crazy? I'm not crazy, you are! You don't know it, but you're just being controlled by the parasite. Keiichi-kun, you think you have nothing to do with it, but you're one of the victims! You just don't realize it. I'm not blaming you for that. I can save you. I can save everybody. So please trust me for now. You think we're all crazy? You think everybody in this village is crazy and you're not? Is that what you're saying? It might even be spreading outside of Hinamizawa. They might have already spread it as far as Shishibane City, or to the entire prefecture. I really am the only one who isn't crazy. I know that thanks to Mio-san's scrapbooks. I thought you understood that too. Wait a second, Rena. You're saying everyone in the world is crazy except you. That's the same thing as saying you're the only one who's crazy. The world hasn't changed. Nobody's crazy. Nobody is your enemy. If you ask me, it's crazy to believe that you're the only one in this world who isn't crazy and that everybody else in the world is your enemy. In short, your only enemy is yourself. I feel so sorry for you, Keiichi-kun. But it's okay. It's not that easy to accept the facts Mio-san discovered. Even she wasn't sure about them. So I understand if you can't accept the truth. That's why I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight to save everybody. I'll beat them down and make them stop controlling you. I know, that's stupid. That's just idiotic! You feel sorry for me? You're stupid! Why don't you understand? Why do you still believe his crazy, stupid story like this? You're just interpreting everything to suit your convenience. They have replacements for Mio-san, Rika-chan, and me. They're going to replace me after I'm killed. What? Replacements? Are you seriously saying that? You know what? I'm going to tell you the truth. I haven't told you about this yet. The true identity of the parasite is aliens. Aliens? Yes, Oyashiro-sama is also an alien. The description of it descending from the sky matches with alien theories from all over the world. Whenever a great civilization flourished, it was always the aliens who accomplished it. They have advanced knowledge. They came to Earth to help immature humans evolve. Hey, wait just a minute. You must be kidding, right, Rena? The parasite theory was interesting. But aliens? Come on, that's just nonsense. But Rena believes this theory so seriously, and she feels sorry for me because I can't accept it. They've been controlling the whole community by living as parasites in human bodies. But sometimes someone with sharp intuition comes along and tries to reveal the truth. But they get rid of them in order to maintain their control of the community. They sometimes kidnap those people with sharp intuition and put a piece of metal in their bodies to gain control over them. When that doesn't work, they replace those people with their copies. They made a copy of Mio-san. They made a copy of me, too. Rika-chan's copy came by just a few minutes ago. I talked to it. It admitted that it came from space. It told me that the end of the world is coming soon, and it laughed at me, saying I should struggle as much as I want. I'm going to fight. I'm not going to let them domesticate our species. I'll never, ever. You're so stupid. I stepped towards Rena and slapped her in the face. I was hoping it would return her to sanity. Wake up! Rena, did you forget? It happened here, just a few days ago. We all took each other's hands here, didn't we? And we promised we'd be a family, made of friends, forever. Rena played with her wrist. She didn't interrupt, so I continued. If you're seriously saying that aliens are controlling the Earth, I'll believe you. Even if everybody in this world didn't, I would. It's because I'm your friend, and I'm on your side no matter what. But I want you to listen to me too. I want you to listen to me because I'm your friend. Takano-san made up all the stories in the scrapbooks. It's true. Takano-san was an occult maniac. She enjoyed interpreting the old history of Hinamizawa any way she wanted. She made up ridiculous stories out of it, and she read them to people for fun. So the parasite story isn't the only one she made up. There are stories about UFOs, some kind of creatures from the underworld, and many other things. So the one you read in the scrapbooks was just a new story she made up recently. Don't you remember that she liked to make fun of people? She was just making fun of you because you took her story so seriously. If it was just a story she made up, why was she killed? Her autopsy report said she'd been dead for 24 hours when she was found, but she was there at the festival. Why? How are you going to explain the cause of Tomitake-san's death? What about the Sonozaki family? What about the legend of Hinamizawa? What about Oyashiro-sama and Rika-chan? Are you saying everything is made up? Are you saying that the whole world is lying to us? Stop making connections between everything! That's a typical symptom of paranoia! Don't think so hard! You're just tired! That's why you need to rest! All I'm going to do is offer you a place to relax, a bed, and food. If you can't trust my food, you don't have to eat it. Eat whatever you have. Anyway, please just trust me for now. My story makes more sense than yours. I have evidence to prove it. But all you're saying is I should trust you. Isn't it obvious who is right? Yes, it is obvious! Me! I'm right! How can you be so sure? It's easy. It's because I'm your friend. Friends never betray one another. Friends always help each other. So you have to believe that I'm right, even when the world says I'm wrong. Because I'm your friend. I heard a thud. Then I dropped the hatchet. She staggered, holding her head in her hands. She was muttering something. It looked like she was asking herself questions. He wants me to trust him, but he has no evidence to prove he's right. He's being absurd. Or maybe he's right and I'm wrong. Am I really just misunderstanding everything? It would be wonderful if that was true. I wished I was wrong so many times. I wished Mio-san's scrapbooks are nothing but a bunch of stories, and the parasite doesn't exist. Some coincidences happened to connect together, and I interpreted them in the wrong way. I really wish that was the case. Don't give up, Rena-ryugu. Be cool, Rena-ryugu. This guy has poison in his words. He's trying to take advantage of my weakness. Everything is too obvious not to believe. It's obvious that the aliens have been trying to invade the Earth, using this village as their base ever since it was called Onigafuchi. Keiichikun is a victim who's being controlled by them. He's just a victim. But when he grabbed my wrist really hard on that day, I could tell his intentions were true. I still remember the strength of his grip on my wrist. He tried to save me, his friend. I got lost in this crazy delusional maze many times. I prayed over and over that somebody would help me. And now my prayers are answered, and Keiichikun is reaching for my hand again. But don't forget, Rena-ryugu. This guy says he's your friend, but he hasn't told you everything about himself. Don't you remember? Oishi-san told you about it. He told me about what he found out. I couldn't trust my friends, so Oishi checked on everybody, including Keiichikun. Rena heats the hatchet through Keiichi's skull again. God. That's why I know about what he did before he moved here. He looks like he's a good guy on the outside, but he's crazy on the inside. I can't trust him. I shouldn't trust him. So what? I don't care who he was before he moved here. I did many bad things in Ibaraki too. I did many unforgivable things. I hurt my friends really badly, broke the windows at school, and was suspended. I was a very bad girl. Did he treat me differently because of that? No, he didn't. And Rena-ryugu is Rena-ryugu. He'll forgive me because it was Rena-ryugu who did all those bad things in Ibaraki. He won't forgive me. I should know better. Keiichi Maebara believes I'm a kind and modest girl because he doesn't know Rena. If he found out about Rena, what would he do? He wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't be scared of me. Rena is Rena. Rena is a different girl. The same goes with Keiichikun. I don't care who he was before he moved here. We're even. You okay, Rena? Don't touch me. Rena knocked my hand aside when I reached for her. You keep saying you're my friend. You want me to trust you because of that? You want me to believe that you're right even if the world says you're wrong? Are you out of your mind? That's more delusional than anything else! I don't care what you say. I'm your friend. Everything I say for your sake. Don't doubt me! I know I'm right! Really? Man, can I ask you something? Yes, anything! Friends don't keep secrets from another, right? Of course! I'm not hiding anything from you. You're lying. I'm not! Lies! funny! Kate-kun, you think you can keep it secret from me, don't you? I know everything. I know what you did before you moved here. I know. It felt as if my entire body was covered in frosty needles. My body and mind froze all of a sudden. I don't believe this. I don't believe this. How come she knows about that? I asked Oishi-san to check on everybody. Everybody. That's why I know what you did before you came here. Stop it! You got it all wrong. You only targeted little girls. I have to tell Satoko-chan and Rika-chan about it. I can't believe a dangerous person like you was near us the whole time. No! No! It wasn't like that! It just turned out that way! A series of attacks on school kids. Bravo! It has as strong an impact as a series of mysterious deaths of Hinamizawa. No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like what? You shot little kids with a BB gun when they were walking alone on deserted streets. What a horrifying incident. It instilled fear into the whole city for a while. Members of the PTA had to watch the kids at every street corner when they walked between home and school. You shot one of the little girls in her eyes and she was badly injured. Fortunately, the damage wasn't permanent. You had a BB gun and you only shot little kids. How disgusting. What made you enjoy it so much? You must have really enjoyed it because you continued to do it for a long time. But then you turned yourself into the police, accompanied by your parents in a crisis of conscience. You couldn't even take responsibility for your actions on your own. Juvenile law was kind to you, wasn't it? It prevented your name from being disclosed to the public or the victims. I bet your father spent a lot of money to protect you. He paid a lot of compensation to settle the case out of court, and he had you placed on probation. After the case cooled down, he used the power of money once again to move far away from the city. Everything is solved, right? You're lucky that your father's so rich. No, it wasn't like that. Why didn't you tell us about it? You told me that you did nothing but study at your previous school. Why did you lie like that? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie. I thought friends didn't keep secrets from one another. Right? So that makes you not my friend! The blades of her words hit hard, and they made my eyes bleed. The blood was clear and it tasted salty. I can't trust you because of what you did in the past. Don't you ever think you can hide it from me? I remember how deeply I regretted it. I couldn't regret enough. I wanted to forget it, but I couldn't. I made a stupid mistake. Why? Why does she have to bring it up right now? I apologized and accepted everything, and I moved here to put it behind me. I wanted to have a fresh start in Hinamizawa. I swore to myself to live a clean life from then on. Everything is ruined now. I'll be a criminal, no matter where I go. I was stressed out with my exam studies. I was frustrated. I randomly shot people. I didn't care if it was girls or kids. Why did I do something so stupid? There was no reason. I had no reason to do that. I just wanted to get someone's attention. I didn't have the courage to tell my parents that I didn't want to study. I just wanted somebody to scold me. So I used a childish way to get attention. I regret what I did. I swear I'll never do something that stupid again. If I do it again, they can send me to the chair. There's nothing I can do to be completely forgiven. I'd do it no matter what it was. No matter how deeply I regret it, and no matter how long I atone for my sin, I'll never be forgiven. That's why I wanted to sweep the whole thing under the carpet and have a fresh start. I have nothing to say if somebody tells me that forgetting my sin is an act of cowardice. Sins are sins. You can't just get rid of them. You have have to carry them for the rest of your life. I know that's the fate of a sinner. If you don't want to live like that, don't be a sinner. I understand that logic too. But then, how are sinners supposed to live? Anyway, you're not my friend. I'm not going to take any orders from someone who isn't my friend. I need you to leave me alone for a while. Okay? I didn't notice until she spoke that I was on my knees, hanging my head. Then I picked up the hatchet she dropped earlier. I wanted her to hit my head with it. Yeah, that's right. If anything is going to be torn apart, I'd rather it be my body. Compared to the pain of my heart being torn to shreds, I'd rather she cut my head off. I believed it. I still believe it. I still believe it right at this moment. I believe that I'm their friend. But in fact, I'm starting to become aware of it. I want to believe I'm their friend, because I don't want to accept my past. I'm trying to tell myself that, but I feel stupid crying like this. My face is all messy with tears. I was never their friend. I'm a sinner, and I hid my past from them. I hid it because I was scared. I told her that friends don't hide anything from another, and I hid my past from them. I hid my sin from them. My past has nothing to do with how I live my life here. If I ever attacked a kid in this village just because I was frustrated, I wouldn't mind it if they killed me and cut me into pieces. But I'll never do anything like that again. I just want to live normally. What I did before I moved here has nothing to do with my life now. For instance, Rena moved here too. I wouldn't change the way I see her even if I found out she did something bad before she moved here. Right? I wouldn't, would I? Even if Rena beat some of her friends or broke all the windows of her school, I wouldn't care because it happened in Ibaraki. She didn't do that in Hinamizawa. Rena is Rena. She's my best friend. That's why I wouldn't see her differently, even if I found out about her past. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie! I'd keep a distance from her if I found out she really did such things. I'd be scared of her. I wouldn't try to listen to her. Why? It's just a rumor. Why would I be so scared of her? She's my best friend. If I was in her situation, would I reject her just like she did? So Rena's rejection of me was completely natural. Then what am I supposed to do? I was the only one crying. Rena wasn't crying. She looked at me as if she was looking at something dirty. After giving me a nasty look, she disappeared into the darkness. Rena didn't forgive me. There was nothing I could do to atone for my sin but to keep crying, still down on my knees. New tips unlocked. The reason we moved to Hinamizawa. Achievement unlocked. I just want to live normally. New tips. After this, I'm gonna be done. I don't remember how many years ago it was. There was this beautiful village surrounded by nature. But the village was going to be submerged in water because of a new dam project, and the villagers protested against it en masse. They held a sightseeing tour so people from other places could enjoy the local beauty. I joined the tour out of simple curiosity. I wanted to take a look at the nature that might sink under the water. But when I got there, the place took my breath away. The air was so clean and clear, and the landscape was beautiful beyond words. Since then, I was hooked on the inspiring nature of the place. I fell in love with the village so much that I was very glad when I heard that the dam project was cancelled. That village is where I'm building our new house. When I visited there, I found a beautiful field of wildflowers. I saw 2 cute girls playing in that field. Both of them were very beautiful with long, straight hair. They were probably neighbors or best friends. I still remember how they looked. One of them had a very beautiful face with a clear-cut profile for her age, and the other had a very pretty, innocent look. I'm sure both of them will grow up into fine, beautiful ladies in the future. They were running around in the field like they were dancing. I asked them if the field was their playground. They said they were playing in hopes that newcomers would move to the village. Then I saw a sign saying lot for sale. That was when I began to think that it might be a great place to live. Looks like next year will be the last. That's something I was checking earlier. It seems like there's about 5.5 hours left. So it would either have to be a long stream that I do on a Friday or a Saturday, or it would have to be 2 more streams. I think. Issues at 5.5? 5:40-ish. I don't know, it could vary. Anywhere from 5 to 6, I could believe. But yeah, that's not, I can't fit that on a normal, I literally have exactly 6 hours between when I get off work and when I'm supposed to be asleep, so. Anyway. That was when I began to think that it might be a great place to live. There was nothing here, and things are a bit inconvenient compared to the life in the city. But I sincerely believe this was the best place for us to start a new life together as a family. A lot of things happened back in the city, but the past is the past. It's best that we move on. We learn from our mistakes, and I hope we can start a new, more ideal life in this village. Keiichi, I hope you'll grow to love it here as much as I do. You do? I'm happy to hear that. I'm also happy that we've been doing a lot better as a family since we moved here. Back in the city, we were far from close. So, I'm truly happy that we were able to start from scratch. Now that I come to think about it, I never had a chance to have a conversation with you like this before. Oh, Keiichi, do you know any 2 beautiful girls with long straight hair in your school? I think they're a lot younger than you. Oh, you know 2 young beautiful girls, but one has short hair, huh? I don't think they're the ones I saw. You want to know why I asked? Oh, I just wanted to ask them to be models for my portraits. I was thinking about making them wear cute costumes. Basically, I just wanted to see them again for artistic reasons. So if you happen to see them, let your dad know, okay? Promise me, okay? Bit of a curveball, bit of a what would you call it, mood swing? No, bit of whiplash to end on there. Anyway, thanks for watching. Next time, Keiichi has been destroyed by the revelation that Rena has learned about his past that he had tried to, so desperately to leave behind him. Meanwhile, Rena has left on her own, seemingly unable to trust anyone at all, with a plan to take down the conspiracy in her head. What will unfold, we will have to see. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. And I'll see you for... I think I will stream on Saturday. I don't know if it will be Higurashi or if it will be something else. But we will have to see. It might be Higurashi. In which case, I can probably finish it then. If not, sometime next week. And then, of course, actually, before even that, I'm trying to think. I think I'll do Ape Escape tomorrow, and then I might have to move Crosswords to Sunday. Yeah, that seems good. Alright, thanks again. Goodbye.